I've always felt that the biggest barrier to the success of what we're trying to do in any group that is in opposition of law enforcement uh, and their relations with any aspect of the community is law enforcement themselves. You know, and Dee Dee said it. Their unwillingness to change their policies, be transparent, um, be held accountable because the same system that we're a part of also will not hold them accountable.
We got they don't know how to run. They got to cook. See? Up my parlay. We need to cook. Yeah. We need to cook. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah. All right, have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. I've got a seat right here for you. We're here. We got a short walk here. We're going to just give a few people a little bit more time to get here. I'm so glad you're leading the way. I was telling Taylor he's got to make us famous here.
Ooh, not a camera. I like to take pictures, I mean, me taking them, I mean,
And you're the first one to come, so lead the way as a senior.
yes.
In our community, as should. And I wish there's anything I can go find some more.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
So, you know, I'm so happy to see you. It's been really good.
I don't know, yeah, I mean, I
You didn't hear
don't
about
know
that?
much about all that's going on here, so, yeah.
Well, if they think what we're doing in housing is impressive, we've already got a little plan with public safety right behind it. So I've got this incredible team of people
Yeah.
put together to organize a 3-series roast, community roast. So it's exciting.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here today. We have all been here and brought together by Regional, of course, but we all are members of the community too, here with our own passions and as well. So we do appreciate you all for being here. And I'm Dee Dee Taylor. I am the founder and president of Taylor Made Reentry Nonprofit. Our mission is bridging the gaps between community, law enforcement, and those impacted by the criminal justice system. So that's one of the major reasons I'm here today. And I'm going to pass it off to Regional so that Regional can say who he is and also give a little bit of why he's here today.
I love this intimate group here, and thank you, Dee, for kicking us off. But thank you for being here on Friday, taking us up on how we try to recruit for the best leaders in this community to do the type of work that we want to do. Myself, Dee, and CJ are going to facilitate our session today, and we're very excited. We wanted this to be a very intimate session. We know that these things start with small circles of talented people like this.
So we're gonna stand up, head out, but while we're heading out, we would like you all to keep 5 questions in mind. We should be thinking about and reflecting on when was the most unsafe time in your life, describe the safest time in your life, why are you here, what is your community and public safety concerns, and what are you willing to do about your concerns? No
I don't think
one?
anyone's sitting here, baby.
You?
Okay.
Sit.
Yeah, we,
Q sitting there. Can I send my answers in next week?
私の名前はトーマス。皆さんこんにちは。Agora.
Watch these boats.
Agora. Well, okay, everybody follow me so far?
Not yet. Not yet.
This takes you right back. The reason why I wanted to pick this space takes you right back to Asia. And this is how we love to talk about serious stuff, especially in your community. When something happens, this is what you have to do in your community. We had the victim, the perpetrators at a table with people in the community, and we had drink and food, and we did not leave till it was resolved. So we're not going to do that today because we have a part 2. But what we are going to do is we're going to use a little bit of an Asian technique, and that's why I love Rob. Rob is the owner here. His mom is the cook. This will be some of the best food you have downtown.
Awesome.
First of all. Second of all, you will feel more welcome here than almost any place else you go downtown. I live downtown, and I didn't know about this place until 3 months ago, and I'm kicking myself in the behind because most of the time when you talk about safety, I don't even feel safe going out downtown around here. And it makes me feel and understand why many in our community don't show up around here. For 5 minutes, you're going to share what you were thinking. Because what we want to do today, the biggest thing and the main thing we want you to do today is just be honest sharing how you feel about the subject, which is improving relationships between law enforcement personnel and residents. And we want you to think about your experiences. Yes.
I can come back.
No, absolutely not.
All right.
Drinks? That's what we want to get to right away. Drink menu, we've got another one right here. Excellent. Anybody want to order now? I'm going to do, I have water. I like to have rum and Coke.
Rum and Coke?
Yeah. Rob knows how I like them.
Okay.
Yeah.
She done ordered that at least once before, apparently.
I'll cover anybody else that needs, but right now we're being a little bit frugal with some of our costs just because of some of the funding, and we appreciate you understanding that. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. If we choose, we can order one of these nice grills they can do for us if you wanted to do that too. So think about it. Anybody want to order again? Going once?
I want some.
Okay.
okay.
Let me grab her really quick.
I'm gonna get fried.
I'm going to keep a timer, and here's what's going to happen. Can we have the questions one more time, DD?
Yes, we can.
Albert said, who's this person?
So, one more time with the questions that we should be reflecting on. When was the most unsafe time in your life? Describe the safest time in your life. Why are you here? What is the community and public safety concern? What is your community and public safety concerns? What are you willing to do about those concerns?
More menus.
Excellent.
And
Yes.
then rum and Coke.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else need a menu?
Before we jump into this quick conversation, we're going to ask Gail, Hugh, and Kevin to make a statement about why we're here too again.
I like our mission, so I'm just going to cite that. That we bring residents, families, law enforcement together for peace of mind, listening sessions, and town halls to build trust, foster accountability, strengthen relationships in the communities and most impacted by violence. The reason I'm here is that I've been in so many rooms, and I continue to be in these rooms, where after a while I'm so disgusted with just hearing the talk. There's never any solutions. And so before this, I was almost like, I'm just through. I'm not going to these meetings anymore. We got years and years and years of the talk and nothing in the solution. So that was frustrating to me. So that was refreshing about understanding what this group is all about. One of my scariest moments in my life was when I filed for a divorce. This is years and years and years ago. And then became a stalking victim. He began stalking me. And when tried to request assistance from our public safety, back then when you were married, it was considered domestic, and they would not help you. They would not help you. And I had brothers, but they had all moved out of the city. So I was pretty much alone with my babies. And for about 3 years, scared out of my mind to go anywhere. That was one of the scary moments. And then one of my safest times was, I guess, being in company with people in like minds who look for change and wanted to understand change. And I think in the community we have to start requesting factual information and stop believing everything that we hear. My podcast is going to be about think about that. Just think about what you're saying and what you're repeating and tell me, does it make sense to you? Make it make sense. So think about those things. And so bringing that to the forefront to make people think about it. And what was the other question? Or did I cover them all?
Yeah, I think the only other one I maybe didn't hear was, what are you willing to do? Which is obvious, but
Whatever is necessary, because I'm led by my spirit, and when my spirit meets with other spirits that are doing the same thing, it knows, and it knows if I'm up against something that's right. So all of that, and then I will just take it a little step further, because I had a recent encounter, and as you know, I build out trainings for our public safety. That's part of what I do for my job. And I had a recent encounter that let me know that really there are some that are beyond rogue, and they are in the positions they're in, and they use the bully pulpit. And if they would do it to me, who is the trainer who brings these things, I know you scaring the living daylights out of the others. So I've just recently, within the last week, had that happen, and it just scared me, blew me away. So that's it for me.
Hello, everybody. Hugh Martin Robinson II. So I'm here because, I'm just about action. I believe that there is space for us, obviously, to improve relationships between the community and law enforcement. There is space for us to do things different, in the way that we attack what law enforcement does, decisions that they make. I know that it is levels to changing that. And so I am very willing to be, on the front lines to help facilitate that change. I'm also heavily into mentorship. And so a piece of that for me is that I always want to be what young people can see, so that in their own time, when they get to the point where they can participate in these types of activities, that they've been able to tangibly see somebody that has already done it. Those were the examples that I had in my life coming up. I've always felt empowered as a young black man coming up, based on, I was just talking to somebody today about, how my mom very carefully surrounded me with fantastic mentors that were doing great things in the community. And so I was always inspired in every realm of my life that I could do it, right? That I could be the change that I wanted to see. And so, it just seemed like a no-brainer for me to join ALPACT. I got a chance to meet Regional at some point, and to join forces in what I believe eventually will be an organization that creates tremendous change in the city, step by step. And I do understand that that's step by step, that it has to happen that way. So that's why I'm here. So the most unsafe time in my life, it's a long story, but I'm gonna make it short. So I'm gonna set the stage. It's kind of the night before the draft. I'm at a get together with friends. One of my friends does something wrong. We have interaction with police, where I got attacked by the police. I ended up getting into a really big skirmish with the police, in which I injured an officer, got charged with aggravated battery. ended up pleading to resisting arrest, but subsequently, for that whole next year, the police department in that particular city that I was in decided to target me and my friends. And so they followed us around. They would park outside our house. And so for a whole year, we dealt with this. Now, the incident that happened was in Illinois, where I was at the time. It was a statewide incident. Honorable Louis Farrakhan came down to the campus to join forces with us with the things that we were doing, the change that we were trying to create, at that particular time. And so that was probably the most fearful time that I've had. But I learned a lot from that particular time. The safest that I've been is as an adult, post college, where I learned how to set things up for myself, protections for me and my family. And so I promised myself that I would never fear after that, and I haven't. Well, so the other question was, what do I feel? What's my biggest community concern? My biggest community concern is and continues to be how law enforcement interacts with the public, with our community. That needs to change. It always has needed to change. And I think that is always going to be at the forefront of my fight with law enforcement, and to bring them closer to, and I heard the chief say it at the at your event. What was the name of the event?
At the church.
Yeah, that was at the church, right? So
Panel.
what he said was that he's telling his officers that when he stops somebody, to treat them as if they were a family member, right? And that's what I've always said in every space that I've been in dealing with police officers. So to hear him say that, if that could come to fruition, that would be a tremendous first step in helping these relations. What was the other question?
I know, right?
I forgot the question.
So, most safest time,
Oh,
most unsafe time,
yeah.
community
Got that.
concerns, why are you here? What are you willing to do about those concerns?
Everything. I'm willing to lend myself to anything and everything that's necessary to make that change, because I have kids and I have grandkids that continue to reside in this community, and if I don't do everything that I can to make it safe, then what am I doing?
So my name is Kevin Jackson. I am a Grand Rapids resident, and the reason that I am here is partially because of the work that I do, and then I would say partially just because of my passion, right? Like my job doesn't really require me to be here, so it's related to my work, but the reason I'm here this evening is personal. And that comes from just the desire to want to really see these things through. The job side of it, ALPACT is a group, a coalition of organizations and people that come together to try to bring a better relationship and more trust between law enforcement and the community. And so that's kind of like the starting point of some of these relationships, and how we met each other. But I think in doing that work, quickly realized that the standard meeting spaces that we have just isn't really big enough or long enough to hold the conversations and the dialogue that we really need to have the bandwidth and capacity to actually make some changes. So in seeing that and understanding that there has to be another step, that's a good first step, but what's the next step, and how does that look? Just wanting to get with people who are willing to take that extra discretionary effort, come together, take that next step and just display the behavioral momentum that it would take to start to address these things. So that's really the genesis of it. And from a personal standpoint, that relationship with the law enforcement, it has so many different impacts in our community. You know, from just the sense of being safe in our own homes and our own communities to the trajectory that one bad interaction could, send someone into a very different space and path in life, whether it's into the prison system or some even worse adverse action, loss of life. And I hate to always think in like the most dramatic of terms, but far too often some of those interactions end up in just really, really negative consequences. And so just thinking that through, and you want to be a support for the community. I always see myself as a resource, like how can I help? And so, meeting Regional and understanding what Seeds of Promise mission is. I've had some connection with Ronald Jimerson in the past and done some work with Seeds probably over the last decade. And so just seeing Regional add a new spark and another layer to it has been really, really, really refreshing. And so I'm looking forward to like what this group can do. How can this grow? How can we get more people involved and using their discretionary time for stuff like this, pouring into the mission and trying to keep the ball moving forward, because these are going to be this extra effort is going to bring us together and just strengthen the relationship. So when Brian needs something, Hugh needs something, Gail needs something, all of the folks here need something, they reach out to just have more capacity and more context to understand where that person is really coming from. So I think this is very, very beneficial. First question, I think, or not first question, second question, when was the time that I felt unsafe? I think as an adult, I remember being a part of some oversight activities dealing with the local law enforcement, and feeling like being in the center of that and being like right square in the middle of it, taking a lot of complaints, being the voice of the oversight, right? The investigation arm of someone coming in, an outside agency who has jurisdiction over the police department, coming in, challenging some of the practices and norms of the way that culture was operating. There was like a large, our department, Mission Department of Civil Rights, had a very large public hearing where folks were coming out, kind of sharing information about what they were going through and their experiences. We were taking complaints. It was just kind of a highly publicized moment. And I remember being at that event, working that event, and then coming out, and my car had been towed from like right in front of the event down at the Department of Civil Rights. And so I just remember that moment, just feeling like really targeted, and that it was some sort of a message of sorts that was to be delivered, and that was a moment of realization of how vulnerable you still are, as a person, no matter what you may think you have going on or the connections that you think you have. So that was a time that was, scary, felt unsafe. Time I felt safe, I always feel safe at home, in the comfort of, my family, and just in those four walls that, are my space, and, the world is kind of away. And is that my phone? Oh, sorry. So I always feel most comfortable at home. That's like where I feel the safest. And I really think to that. as we even do some of our know your rights trainings, and that concept for people, I think that's why it really resonates. Like making it safe, making it back home, right, and being safe. And that was the goal when you were a youth. You played the games, you played tag or hide and go seek, and you had what was it called when you make it home? Was I can't remember what the term.
Touchdown.
Yeah, well, it's different in every community, right? You can say back home, right? So that for me still resonates as an adult. Just want to make it back home at the end of the day, and so I think everyone kind of has that commonality in a sense. And then the other question, what would I do to make these things possible? Similar to Hugh and Gail who spoke earlier, whatever it takes, whatever that looks like, meeting people where they're at, moving past being uncomfortable and feeling unsafe even at sometimes. Like, I went, when I went through that situation with the car being towed, it could make you react in one or two ways. You just move through it and follow the way as duly noted, but you just try to stay unstoppable and just keep moving and just still seeking progress. And so that's my goal, and what I'm willing to do is, as they say, whatever it takes. And so that's that.
The reason I'm so doggone excited is not just because of the people that are here. I talk to so many, this is just a quarter of the core that wants to be here. But at Seas, we tell people one of our jobs is to eliminate leaders because we want the absolute best. So thank you for demonstrating to this core leadership team who spoke, because we also believe giving people credit who are putting in the work. That's the reason why the leadership team are speaking. We spend so many times with each other on the phone. We've already had to test each other's patience in different areas, and we're here to say that, you know what, yeah, we do know what it takes, and we're willing to do that. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Hugh. And thank you, CJ, for being a core. And thank you, Taylor. Because I picked him up searching on the website, too, for creative people, and saw something he did that just struck to me. And then, almost a year later, had his whole family over my little apartment. I bought so many boxes of Cheez-Its just so he can come over and help me learn how to get me and CJ have a podcast, a song. We meet with people regularly. But long story short, we have a lot of resources, even in this town now. I've got people knocking on my doors because I'm talking about this team. What's the number one thing you think we need to be dealing with? 1, 2, or 3. But the main thing is we need your solutions. And then you'll be able to share, and we're out of here. And we will be out of here at 8. Fair enough, no matter how many drinks I have.
I hang out with my brother in high school. They were like best friends.
I'm sorry.
My biggest thing right now is
And when the cop pulled me over, he was just like asking me questions like about like my leg.
We should really see our law enforcement. We should never see them as authoritarian.
He got a ticket. So I feel like that's
What that looks like, because
what's most
I was
harmful.
like being transparent with their data collection,
We start to
like
look
just how
at
cops collected.
Remember to share 2.5 more minutes, folks.
perspective.
Yeah, I kind of see it as a good thing. Like I always lose my car on campus because the campus is so big. So sometimes I just like call the police hotline and I'm like, hey, can you help me find my car? And then they're there. So yeah.
It's hard to
truly know
My concern is
someone that's
everyone is so
our rights.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Yeah, I worked at a courthouse last summer.
Solution is obviously fathers in the home.
So folks, now we're going to have that group discussion, because I hope
The cousin of the policewoman in Detroit.
you felt that you're able to get some stuff out, share honestly, and I'm going to ask us to stretch a little bit more in a larger group, because I hope we spent a little bit of time getting comfortable, but I don't think we're quite there yet. But we got to get there in this last portion of our night tonight because we're about to wrap up and get out of here.
Oh, you go ahead. No. Well, I was just gonna show my appreciation and thank everybody here for the issue. It's sad to be the reason we're here, but I want to thank you for what you shared, and there's a lot of interest, connection, and concern. You know, and I like the fact that of the age difference too, because part of my problem, like I talked to some of my family members earlier, I want some help to understand what I'm doing wrong or change, so I can communicate, have a dialogue with the younger people, and not be fighting or struggling or whatever it is. So I want that.
Against all odds. Anything else people want to share? Yes, Hugh.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think that all my conversations have been very thoughtful and thought-provoking. People have really thought about this topic, and everybody has an extremely interesting perspective, which is their own. Like, you know, every perspective is unique. It's well thought out. It's I guess the word I want to use is pertinent to exactly what's going on right now. And like, no, there's no wrong answer, right? There's no wrong answer in this space, because if that's what you perceive, that's what's going on. And everybody has just been really good in just verbalizing that, you know, being loquacious about those spaces. So yeah, appreciate that.
Can I say
Thank you,
something
sir.
real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm the president of Grand Valley's NAACP chapter, so thank you. So I feel like a lot of the insight I'm learning here tonight I can take back with students. We've kind of talked with a lot of our community. A lot of them have biases, especially with Grand Valley police, just our campus police, and issues there. So I feel like everything I'm learning here tonight I can take back with my chapter and with the community and just really share it. And I like this type of forum too. So
Thank you.
yeah, I like this type of forum. It makes everyone relax if they have food and drink, and it's like that unfiltered conversation we were talking about earlier. So
They want to talk about how to connect with the youth. We know how to do that. We already know how to do that. We keep telling them, Shakana, and that's why I need people like you who we need to keep putting young people like you in front of the community. We keep going around talking about the ones that are struggling. That's a mom and daddy situation. We can support, of course, but that's a mom and daddy situation at the end of the day. And we can fill gaps, put band-aids on it, but that's going to do what it does. We need to make sure, like if I ask you about your mom and dad, what would you say?
they're great.
Thank you.
What?
Case closed.
Exactly.
What'd you say?
Case closed.
I didn't hear that word.
She said they're great.
Oh,
And that's what happens. So thank you for being proof, and that's why we look for talent. You know, I actually saw one of your presidents at GVSU at a commission meeting 3 years ago now. And his concern, the students' concerns at GVSU, he came down there and, you know, his concern was, listen, your downtown needs work. You got bums walking around, running around harassing people.
Yeah.
And you think it's cool. They're sitting in front of restaurants and stuff like this. You know, mental health issues floating around town all the day, and you think that's comfortable. Plus, he was talking about the recent shootings at that time over at the Blue Bridge.
Yeah.
So, and I guess we found out that students were involved in that.
Yeah, we had a recent stabbing on freshman housing, and yeah, so there has been, I guess, a lot of racism on campus.
Yes.
Because there's been a lot of admissions of black students on campus,
Yes.
and Grand Valley's a predominantly PWI, so I guess that spiked. And then after the stabbing, it was a black individual that did the stabbing. He didn't even go to Grand Valley. He was just, I think he was from Muskegon, but that kind of sparked a lot of conversation on campus as well. And with the NAACP, we're really big about like direct action instead of like direct service. So I like how you talked about that, like the mommy and daddy issue, like doing direct service, like hand drives and things like that are good, but direct action with policy is something that needs to be the main focus.
So for those who didn't get a chance to share, why are you here, what's your community's concern, what you're willing to do about it, what was the situation where you were in the most fear? And what was the situation where you felt the most safe? Any of those?
I would say the most unsafe situation I've been in. So last summer, I was a judicial intern for Judge Tracy Green at the Third Circuit Court. And there was this really big kind of media case that we had. I won't get into the details. It was a lot. and a brawl broke up between the families and the defendant. I was sitting right by the prosecutor's table, like right next to him, and things just like exacerbated, and officers jumped in, more officers were running in, and I actually hid under the prosecutor table. I was like so scared. And yeah, so I feel like that's the most like unsafe I've ever been. And the safest, my parents sent me to sleepaway camp a lot in the summer. I would go to Traverse City, and just being in a cabin full of girls, just like we're all snuggled in, telling each other stories. I feel like that's the safest I've ever been. And why am I here? I'm actually Mad Regional at the AI Summit, and GVSU's NAACP was a partner in that. And I wanted to be here today just to kind of gain insight from the community, because Grand Rapids and GVSU were like so close together. I feel like things kind of intersect a lot, especially with the police, because Grand Rapids Police, Kent County Police, they're at Grand Valley. So kind of knowing that system, I feel like would be able to help us like as a community.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Good. Let me know. You guys okay?
If we get warmer, it's Dee Dee's fault.
It is my fault. It is.
Okay then.
See, it's
What
my
are you guys
fault.
doing? Party?
Yes,
That's the
ma'am.
best of the day for to bring it on.
I know, right?
Thank you for that. Really appreciate that.
That was nice.
That happened where again? In the courthouse?
Third Circuit Court. Third Circuit Court, yeah.
Detroit?
Yeah, Detroit, yeah. It was a criminal sexual conduct case with a minor. It was like a conjoined case with like a couple minors and perpetrators. It was like kind of this big rig thing. Like it was a lot. But yeah, the families broke out in a brawl. It was so tense in the courtroom every day. And the defendant, he acted out, and officers were just jumping on him, and I was like right in the crossfire. Yeah, it wasn't a good situation.
Yeah, it gets real.
Thankfully, it was a Friday. My dad felt bad for me, so he took me to the mall the next day, and I felt better. But you know, it was still scary.
Retail therapy.
That's what I'm saying. How our parents said, great. Great. They're great.
They're great.
Very generous. Very
I
generous.
love it. That's what's up. Yeah, that's what's up.
I know.
Yeah, sure.
It's fine now.
We all right.
Okay. We're just sharing right now, Dee Dee, for those who did not share with the questions. Anybody else? Thank you, Shikana.
You're welcome.
Who did not have a chance to share earlier.
I'll go. My name is Brian Hartle. I work for the Kent County Health Department. I'm here because a few years ago we implemented a health equity council that brought together representatives from our community-based organizations to discuss issues that impact their health. And we had a little brainstorming session where we talked about the things that most impact the health of our community, and they brought up mental health. And then they also discussed the impact that community safety has on mental health, especially interactions between police and community. So we heard a lot about Patrick Leoya incident. We heard a lot about just the concern and fear that people have just driving down the street, walking down the street, and their concerns about being stopped by police and what those interactions will lead to. So we got involved in ALPACT. We kind of had a little group that we started talking about how can we do something about this to improve relationships between police and community. But then ALPACT came to my attention, so I was like, they're already doing something with this. So we kind of started joining ALPACT and got to know Kevin through that. We've worked with SEEDS a lot in the past with our needs assessments in the communities. We've employed some of their neighborhood folks to go door to door, collect information from individuals. We worked on a project on housing with SEEDS back in 2017, I believe, so had that connection with Ron. And then Regional came to the table, and we've done a lot of work. I've served on their health impact team. So, I think that's my biggest concern for the community is just that, how people are treated by the police. I respect I realize my privilege as a white male, and not having to deal with that my entire life. But hearing stories from individuals and understanding how disparate the treatment is of individuals. Albert and I were talking a lot about that, especially new Americans. And so I think that's...
Sephora?
Mine.
Oh, both of them? Okay.
Yeah.
Anything I can get out of your way?
I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what I talked about in these 5-minute conversations is just the current environment that we live in, with people's basic needs being taken away, or their access to basic needs resources like health insurance and food assistance and things like that, and that money in turn going to strengthen law enforcement and then just kind of further that making that divide even worse, and it's giving power to law enforcement and kind of creating more power and balance in our communities. And so, I mean, healthy communities are safe communities, or things like that. And I think we're taking away people's ability to be healthy and safe in turn. And then I think it's going to increase their willingness to do things that might increase their risk for interactions with police officers. So I'm worried about that. And I guess for me, what I can bring to the table here is just connections and resources and using my position and power that I have to bring that to the table, to this effort. And so, so that's why I'm here, I guess. My safety questions, I already mentioned my privilege. I've, just felt safe my whole life, pretty much, growing up on the outskirts of Saginaw, Michigan, lived in the suburbs, and went to a suburban school. Felt safe in my home and in my community, and never had to worry about interactions with community or police officers or violence. Live now in Cascade, so I live in Cascade, and I can run.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I can't listen to this anymore. I can't listen to this anymore.
So I run around my community without worrying about anything. So so it's hard for me sometimes to bring that to these types of environments because I feel, guilty in a way, but I don't have to deal with things that other people do. But I need, how can I do my best to support these and bring my, like I said, my power and privilege to help and move things forward. My least safe situation, I was assaulted as a teenager at a basketball tournament in Saginaw, downtown, Gus Macker. And so just by a group of kids who stole my shoes. And so that was just an experience that, I didn't know what was going on. I felt very lonely and afraid. I was walking around downtown Saginaw with no shoes on, and then no one was there to help me. Just watched me walk down the street bloodied and barefoot, and just no one just looked at me and thought I was, I don't know why, but they just didn't come to my aid. So that was a situation I just felt the least safe and secure in my life. So yeah.
Let's try that. All right, so I just said I work for the city of Grand Rapids, but I'm here not in that capacity. I just love the work Seeds of Promise does. I had a chance to connect with Regine for maybe since last year or 2 years ago, and I really love everything about the Seeds and what it stands for. So I am here simply because I want to learn more about the amazing work you guys have been doing and see how I can contribute. I am originally from Rwanda. I came here 2012 or 11, about 15 years ago as a refugee. And that brings me to the question of when did you feel unsafe? And I kept thinking when, and if you know about Rwanda, I come from Rwanda, that's Central East Africa. We are known for so many good things, but unfortunately this little ugly thing happened, the genocide in Rwanda, and that's when I felt unsafe because my family and everybody I love and the house I grew up in, it was all destroyed in that genocide, and that's when I felt unsafe, seeing grown-ups running to hurt me. I was just a kid because I happened to be in a wrong ethnic group. That made me feel unsafe, and I got a chance to move here, and I would say I feel safe here. I live in this small neighborhood in Kenwood. I've never heard a shot. I've never heard. I barely remember to close my door, and no issues. I walk in the neighborhood, so I generally feel safe. And the other question was, the other question was, why are you here? I think I talked about that. What concerns? Some of the concerns, when I started working for this office, I get to know things and I see so much differences in the way policing is exercised here, in the way folks are treated, and that concerns me. And then the solutions, I see a huge divide in the way folks want to address issues. We run so many Know Your Rights trainings. We've run a few with Regine and the Seeds. And when you go to the southeast side of the city, police and cops are almost devils. This is off record. I would just say my opinions here. It doesn't represent the city. But southeast side, police are seen in a very different way. If you go to the west side, it's like day and night. West side, where we have many Caucasian and all that, police are angels. And then I was like, what's going on here? How come that we have such diverse and way different perspectives on policing? I find that as a concern, and then how we address that. Some folks are like, okay, let's get rid of police. Let's defund police. And then others are like, but if we defund police, what's the plan B? And then what? Are we ready if police is not there? So I see all those differences in the way to address issues, and I'm hoping that being in these small circles, we get to talk about things and get to learn about each other, and I hope this is the best way to talk about those issues. And I wish we had some, we had officers and cops here so that we can also see them as human beings, who can, mess up the same way I mess up in my job, and also for them get to learn about where our fear is coming from. So that will not happen if we see them in uniforms and in the position of power with their weapons. But if they were seated here, I'll be more comfortable to, share and tell them where we are coming from.
I'm overjoyed tonight because it's always about the right people, not a lot of people. And we all know sitting around this table, we have the right people. And Albert, again, just thank you.
You're welcome.
Because the positions that you sit in, and then your willingness still to partner as a professional though. And that's what we respect about you, because we don't like to talk about people either. We all know we're not perfect. We want to identify the issue, but we are focused on the solutions.
Right.
And you always come with that. What's your professional background? You're an attorney, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And so this is the type of caliber. Again, at Seeds, we tell people it's the 1% to 2% that you need to listen to.
For sure.
And those are the ones that normally do not have a voice for a reason. But we're all in here today. And so we know we have the energy and the nucleus to change that. Right. Thank you, sir.
Can I just add on to Albert, if any of us have a chance to really sit and talk with Albert, where he comes from and how he arrived here, the story is so powerful and so overwhelming. And so I get it too, of his safeness, even though it's among the things that we deem not. You have to know his story, and I appreciate that story.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's why I begged him to be here.
Absolutely.
And everybody hears a story that wants to do this work. That's why he's here.
Amen.
Because we have to document this stuff. And that's why I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Because we have done way more than any of us would have expected just by being here, especially on Friday. Knowing what everybody else wants to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But we do need this. We call it on these times because we need a different commitment. And again, we pulled it off here again today.
Well, my name is Heather, and I am here at the invite of Regional. I've worked in this community. I've worked in Grand Rapids over 20 years and have worked in, not specifically worked in public safety, but worked in areas, public health, family and children's services, housing, workforce development, kind of made the rounds in terms of programming. and had the experience to serve and interface with a lot of different individuals. And you hear a lot of different stories and you learn about a lot of different people, and I think you begin to understand how everything is connected in terms of how communities work, and begin to understand how public safety was perceived differently depending on the individual that you were working with, depending on if you were working with professionals, or even some of the programs that I worked alongside was like the Michigan Prisoner Reentry Program. Just had the opportunity to hear a lot of stories and understand the complexity of how people felt about public safety and leveraged it. So let's see here. I don't live in Grand Rapids, so I'm a little bit unique. I actually live on the lakeshore, and I feel like I split my life here. While I feel like I spend most of my time here, I have a lot of privilege coming from a community where I feel very safe, and then seeing very different things. But the other thing that I see in the community that I live is that there's not quite the agencies and organizations working at the advocacy level to really bring things to light too. So I think I just see patterns where there's systems in place that are not serving people well, and that's a piece that we need to think through community by community and understand. The time that I felt the most unsafe, I think it was growing up. Well, I'm not gonna share that, but I think it's just feeling like that there are systems that are not serving. I mean, so in terms of being with people, I'm going to pass on that question for now. It just brings up.
That's okay. Thank you, Heather. Thank you.
We appreciate you
And
being here.
if you feel like
For
changing
sure.
up later, just let us know.
Okay.
Just thank you for being here. It's because of that. One of the reasons I asked her to be here. I met Heather maybe 4 months ago, maybe Heather with ALPACT meeting, right? Mm-hmm. And we connected, and then I think we met twice, and she did the same thing to me. I kind of got emotional with her a little bit. I don't even know if she recognized, but just being with people, that's how you know you're getting closer to your tribe. Like when you're expressing your feelings because you know you're connected with somebody who understands it, that's powerful.
What am I willing to do? I want to know why you asked me here. Well, I don't know. So anyway.
Because I want Miss Jerlene, because you know how C's really get down. Who could you call in this city to do what we did? Who would have responded like that? You probably was calling people before. How many people responded like we did? That's why I brought you here as a witness to how we get down, even in the summer.
That's right.
Even if it ain't in our area. Right. We don't really do that, but we did it.
But you know what? The sad part about what you did is I had a similar experience many years ago. And some young people came in, and at that time, I just had them wash down the ritual, just wash down the walls and stuff like that. But anyway, we had such a bond that they were from different cities too.
Okay.
And so they invited me out to their...
So I'm not so special.
Tonight you're my heart.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll go back. That story will be the same this time next year, so I'll tell you that later.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So as I thought about, and I was talking to the gentleman here, when I think about what was my most, when I feel most unsafe and most safe, those two, I said they might blend together because I've had so many little issues happen that kind of throw me. I'm not sure until I recognize when I thought what I was that really true at the time? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you might think your bicycle is safe, until you get home and somebody says, that back wheel is out. and you was just pedaling all the way down, thinking you're okay. But it did make me pick, because I had the gentleman that talked about the policing thing. I had enough of that experience, and I'm still affected by some of that today with my life. And the neighborhood, I'm not, I went through that. I had my neighbors attack me, so, and the police just dropped it. So all those little things, it kind of catch my heart, and I could not relate to it, but I could understand what you were saying and follow it, And so, if I had to say one of the safest times I felt, or the safest times I think I felt, is when I am, and I've lived, I don't care how afraid or what I'm going through, do not appear like a victim. So, let the other person guess. Because a lot of people, when they come at you, they pick us out as they can manipulate you, whichever. So keep them guessing. I don't care how afraid I am or concerned, I will not look and act like a victim.
Okay, folks, we're about to wrap up and get out in the most important part for us oftentimes, because we really need you to reflect on what you heard and write it down. In 1 second though, but again, we're going to have people to just give you 1 minute to share the most important, again, obstacle you see in what we're talking about here. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
It's the number one obstacle.
Yes. Out of all this good talk and talk about everything we were talking about, we want to hear out of everything that you know and have learned, even tonight or at other times, what's the biggest challenge you see for us? We're not that special. We are not that special. What's going to change things are the special actions we take, not our talk. Does that make sense? So, can we go around? Ms. Gail, can you start us off?
I was just saying that, in being in the different spaces and then being here in the room and hearing the things that are going on, what is evident in the community is that things are perceived a certain way, and they are perceived that we want to move forward with our trust and being together, and then we may get in a different place, and then you can't see that that's what we want. We have issues with trust as well, not just with public safety, but even with ourselves. And so we have to come together as one and be on one accord and steadfast in that, in order to let them know we not playing with y'all. This is what we want, and we're not going to back down. And the conversation may be scary. You may be fearful, as you mentioned, CJ, but you can't stop because of that. Because guess what? We've had many fearful acts done to us and conversations gone on around us. So we got to push through. So we got solutions for that.
One of the biggest barriers I see is authentic feedback and conversation coming from community voice. I think that within public safety, but I think that's a systematic issue, like within all of our systems. How do we allow community to show up? How do we listen to community? And it's not just pulling people in a room, giving people a chance to talk, and then not doing anything. How do we take that information and implement it? And I feel like that, again, here is an issue. And to your point, you use the word, and then they just go around you, right? So there's no feedback. There's at the decision-making table, like there's not community voice. And this here again is yet another example of how systems do that.
So for me personally, I think the challenge that I see overall is really with law enforcement and them actively engaging and being involved in some of these changes that our community want to see. I think, for example, law enforcement should be here, at least one, if we really want true change and if we really want to make a difference within our community or build trust. We need someone from the head up here. Chief Winstrom should be here, someone who makes those rules and regulations that flow down to our local law enforcers. Those are the people that need to be here today. So I think the biggest challenge is getting in the heart and minds of our law enforcers, and also, like Ms. Gail said, our community. But I don't think our community is the biggest issue because we have kind of been taught to be complacent. I think if we have true leadership, then that idea of what our community is doing can really be fixed.
My head just been going all over. I just had words going like, just need commitment, unity, together, devotion. We gotta be able to trust each other. Because if you and I discuss something here, and then if we go to another meeting, I gotta depend on you to back me up. Because so many times, you ever had that happen? You talk with a group of people, we all agree, and you go to the boss and say, we're going longer lunch. He said, oh, y'all feel that way? And everybody's like, Geraldine standing by herself, just Geraldine said it. That's with the community. Do our communities feel like they are communities? I'm concerned about my block with that. And I mean, it's so serious, the dangerous and the issues they go on, because they don't have boundaries. They don't have respect for others because they don't have respect for themselves. And it's give, get, because they want that feel good today. I don't care if it's that they want to play ball. You can't be in my yard, but we need your yard. You know, life is not like that. You work and earn and support and take care of what you have. Now, the police department, I was interested you used the word defund the police. And I've had this for last year, we had other police and everything. Somebody to help me if I'm wrong. Now, when you say defund the police, my thought goes to the services. Police have their guidelines and service for protection or violence, whatever you need them for. We don't want them to answer sickness or mental health calls. And so I thought that the money was not just being keep the police from working, but take that extra money and put it with mental health and develop something that would answer these calls. So if anybody can help me with that, I would love to hear.
And we'll talk more about that, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay, so that's pretty much me. You know, the boundaries and the feel goods, and my prayer for the police department, they have to be honest and transparent with themselves. I shared with you a little bit about that. The police department is not together. So if I know they're not together, how in the world I think they're gonna function for me? They have issues of being diverse and understanding each other and gender. They have all kinds of stuff that you have heard for years within the police department. So it's like a family. Like you said, the parents are responsible for the children. So the police department is not managing their policemen or the people that work there, and they're mistreating each other, taking the attitude outside. They still complain about female officers, still worried about too many minorities. If they working under that, and then you get a little fear about where you're going, you can't have nothing but trouble.
Biggest issue, I think, and I'm gonna try to just pick one off of my list, along my very long list. Now, biggest issue, and to just focus on the relationship aspect, that's going both ways, right, between the community and the law enforcement. Lack of trust and increased fear, going both ways, and it's just like a spiraling effect. And I'm thinking about, you know, where the community is at after, you know, the whole Patrick Lyoya situation, and then, you know, where law enforcement may be at after Wednesday's incident with the young man shooting at the police officers, and how those two different incidents, you know, juxtaposed to each other, just create an ongoing spiraling tension, right? It's just reconfirming, if you're seeing it through that lens, see, this is why we're so vigilant, or our approach into these situations dealing with alleged suspects is heightened because this could possibly happen. And then you have from the community side, you know, having that visualization and watching that experience or that situation with Patrick Lyoya, how could a person getting stopped not fear that ultimate consequence? And so people right away from the jump in that interaction are battling against their worst fears all in that one moment and trying to still have some sort of humane civil engagement underneath that amount of stress, tension, and anxiety is I think really my biggest concern. Like, how do people manage that? Like when those red and blue lights flicker, or you ever ride down the street and you thought you saw the police lights go off? You start checking for all kind of stuff, trying to figure out like where is that insurance? No, like Lord, don't let me die over registration.
For sure.
And it seemed really dramatic. Like, why would I, why am I feeling all of that? But it's serious. And I imagine, police officer making this stop, he hitting those lights and he just praying, whoever this is up there driving is not a wanted felon and, finna try to mash on it and get down on me. So it's that constant tension and people ability to just have that blind faith that this other person that I do not know that I'm at the intersection with, and our lives are gonna, are we gonna pass by each other or are we gonna collide here? So, and how that constant tension, how do we relieve that at all? So I think that's the biggest issue. How do we get people to start not at 10?
In addition to what you guys have said, which is very, very powerful point you guys have made, I think for me, lack of accountability is really big. If I mess up my job, if I don't do my job right, there's a price to that. I lose my job, my license. I pay in one way or another. On the flip side, if friends in law enforcement, if they mess up with their job, if they take a life, if they violate policies, we see so many examples of folks going away with that. Why is that? So what that creates is a sense of injustice and a sense of fear and a sense of distrust, and that creates a spillover effect, and we feel all unsafe. And sometimes folks want to take things in their own hands, and that will create a circle of violence. So to me, lack of accountability is a big thing, and the systems that are supposed to bridge that gap, to me it looks like they don't have all the tools they need to do the job. Most of the cities have oversight offices, police oversight offices. Like Grand Rapids is probably the only one in Michigan that has a fully functioning oversight office. But sometimes, like many other oversight offices, we find our hands tied because the policies and the culture, the police unions, they are so powerful that whole new, very promising concept of oversight, that it can't work because there's that huge wall that blocks accountability, transparency, and really the whole oversight. So I'm hopeful because small forums like these ones, these spaces, that's where I see the hope. If we do this and we call out on our public officials and elected officials, that's the beginning. All the changes started with one person, Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and others. Just was one person, and then we saw things changing. I wish we can have more forums, more spaces like this. That way we can get things done and get the change we want to see.
My thoughts are similar to Kevin's and Albert's, but I'll say, I guess, I talked a lot about policy, and how it impacts community well-being and safety and health. I think that we were talking a little bit about raising awareness of how people's civic engagement can impact the decisions that are made at the policy level. So I think somehow raising awareness of that importance. And then Hugh and I are talking a little bit about creating avenues for people to heal, or communities to heal after negative events occur in our communities. And I think it just, that continues to foster poor relationships, but if there's ways that we can find somehow to heal after these situations occur, whatever that may be, I think will help.
And if I just can ask, I think another thing that we're all talking about here is the conflict resolution. How do we as a community resolve things? And I think that's a challenge for everyone.
I would say the biggest obstacle in public safety and civic engagement is just learning how to put our fire and passion to good use from a student perspective. In the NAACP, we always say fired up and ready to go. And I really noticed that with students on our campus, everyone's very civically engaged and passionate, but passion alone isn't enough. We have to channel that fire into intentional action, especially through elections. I mean, we have to take our souls to the polls, like we say in NAACP. 2026 is going to be a major election year, and with midterm elections, and I think we really need to focus on electing people who represent our needs. In my chapter, we say we don't want resume builders. We want people who are really passionate about this stuff and who are really going to represent the community's interest. Yeah. Oh, and also with police, I feel like the accountability system needs to be more transparent. In our government, we have legislative checks, judicial, and kind of vice versa. But what's that accountability system within the police? I just don't know much about it, but I feel like that should be more transparent to the public. So that's my little 2 cents.
Kevin's told me, Kevin had me on the phone for 30 minutes talking about you. And you doing everything we're trying to do again. But what do you see now, Hugh, as the biggest challenge?
It was all good stuff too.
Yeah, he knows some bad stuff too, so I appreciate that.
Beating up police. I ain't even. He out here beating up police. I ain't even. Injuring police.
We got a hell of a squad.
Ain't nobody playing.
Hey, that was a long time ago.
No, you still got that in here.
Yeah.
That's why I love Bill. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So no, I've always felt that the biggest barrier to the success of what we're trying to do in any group that is in opposition of law enforcement and their relations with any aspect of the community is law enforcement themselves. And Dee Dee said it. Their unwillingness to change their policies, be transparent, be held accountable, because the same system that we're a part of also will not hold them accountable, right? And so that then gives a sense of vigilantism for them, legal vigilantism, where they can really do what they want to, treat people how they want to, with no accountability in the end. And so it comes to the policymakers. I've been talking, and I've talked with everybody that I've had our little one-on-ones with about these very same issues. And so the policymakers, the judges, those people that are supposed to be in place systematically to hold them accountable are not. Yeah. Right? And so it perpetuates itself, right? So how many times have we seen them approach citizens wrong, get away with things that we know are crimes? I mean, if we just being honest, just crimes. And now they walking around like, okay, so what's next? What you gonna do about it, really? And so, in the end, that's our biggest barrier, is really them. And so I do agree that those extremely difficult conversations that CJ talked about, that he's having, need to be had. And if I'm just being frank, not everyone is built for those conversations. I talked to him about being on the police policy and procedure task force, and how many community members started off that task force that didn't end that task force, because when those conversations got real and law enforcement been staring you across the table and they looking at you like, I didn't agree with what you said. Now when the next meeting comes, nobody shows up. because those conversations are difficult and you don't know what's gonna happen with them. And so really, the barrier is that transparency, and then us knowing that what's critical is how we support each other and continue to show up for each other, because there's strength in that piece of unity, and knowing that we're moving forward with a goal in mind, and it's only us that will be able to accomplish it together, right? And then the last piece for me is the continuous education of our community on how to stay safe.
Well, this is the part, remember, we're asking everybody to write down a solution to one of the biggest challenges or threats that we've heard tonight. It could be theirs, it could be something else they heard, but we want them to write that solution down to it. And I want to start with you identifying, something you shared or someone else has shared. We're just going to share really quickly what is your solution, and we're going to leave out letting people know why at Seeds of Promise we understand knowledge is power, and why you need people who've done this stuff, because we don't see issues, we see solutions.
Go ahead.
So my solution, I like everything everybody said. It's all true, all of it. My solution is to make them understand and respect and put the solution in place. That's my solution.
I have two things to add into the mix. One of them is community leadership development. So really empowering residents to lead and speak about the issues in this space in front of decision makers, really that advocacy component. And then the mental health strategies. I think somebody said that what it feels like is that you feel like you're always at a 10, and you're you're on alert a lot. In order to really do this work, you have to take care of yourself. So not using any of the models that currently have, but as a community coming together and co-developing, what does that look like, that mental health piece that gives people the tools to take care of themselves.
Well, part of my solutions that I see is, one, eliminated qualified immunity for law enforcement. So those of you who don't know what that is, they're automatically immune from anything that happened, as far as a police shooting, as far as if they ran over a person, anything of that nature. And as far as in my personal life, my sister is Breonna Taylor, and the law enforcement that shot her, he was able to get new employment in a different county because of this law. So I think this is why there's no accountability for law enforcement. And if we eliminate that, we can really get somewhere. And then my last solution is reimagining how we come together as community and as a culture. So.
But the solution is to continue and grow as we are. That willingness and openness to have the dialogue. It's not always about agreeing, it's about accepting and understanding. So the solution is to work on it, to not abandon the goal, and just fight the ways and keep it on going, because I do think it's doable. All things can be improved.
I would say a long-term solution would be, increasing the representation within the infrastructure of law enforcement, and to really reshape the system from the inside out. When we have more culturally component leadership and more community-rooted leadership, that really just creates internal accountability for everyone. So I think that could be a long-term solution.
More informal engagements with civic leaders and police to increase the accountability to the previous work and solutions that are already laid out, right? How do we strengthen those relationships and focus them on all of the work that we already have laid out, right? We have a lot of answers and solutions that are in front of us, and we just aren't able to get people to focus on seeing them through. I think building those relationships will help us do that.
I really see no magic solution to all the issues we raised. but at least I would add to what everybody said, especially I can't emphasize what Didi said, that qualified immunity. That's huge, huge, huge. Um, so to that, remember when Obama was in the office, there was this initiative on the federal level to was called policing task force, something like that.
21st century, I think.
Yes.
21st century police.
Yeah, that thing needs to be looked into again, revisited, and improved, because it would provide federal level kind of oversight systems to all police departments. We have what, 160,000 PDs, and each and every PD works on their own terms. They are their own bosses. There's no federal kind of oversight to them, and that makes it hard because the same system that enable all these misconducts, all these inequities we've just talked about, it's not challenging. It's not challenged at all. So we need something at the federal level. I come from a country where we have this thing called national police. So you have a central structure that look into policing. That doesn't exist here because of the way our government is structured. Federal government independent, from the states, and then cities which are incorporated. They operate on their own ways, and that complicates things. But we need that. Besides that, I really think we need to. There's a need for the switch in the philosophy of policing. Folks, when they finish the academy, the policing academy, their supervisor, they're like, oh, fuck academy. We're gonna show you how we do the job. Let's go get bad guys. Let's go get them. It's more about power over the community instead of power with the community, or at least a partnership with the community. That kind of philosophy and mindset, it won't work. That's why I don't buy the idea of defiant right now, because to me it's not realistic. But in the long run, it should head. That's why things should head. It should be. We should see community taking things in their own hands, but that will need a transition. That will need different infrastructure. That will need that whole change of mindset from power over the community, but then with power with the community. Do things with the community instead of we're there to get you. We're there to enforce law. So the whole idea of law enforcement doesn't really make things easier to me.
I basically said mine earlier. So one is just creating avenues for people to come together, overcome bias, foster understanding, and build respect and trust, such as racial healing circles that have been kind of implemented in some other communities. I've talked to Kevin about those a little bit. And then just stressing the importance of civic engagement within the community. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, so I'm talking about interactions with law enforcement and the public, as well as the improvement and the paradigm switch of how law enforcement interacts as a whole with the community. And so the last time any type of policy and procedure review was convened in this city, it was involving 21st century policing. However, at the time, there was not an Office of Justice of Oversight and Public Accountability. So that exists at this point. So why wouldn't we use what we have existing to make sure that once we convene a task force, once we talk about what needs to be changed, we use that existing structure to follow through, because that's what has been the lack of follow through and saying, hey, these things were already talked about. We already knew what we've already identified what needs to be changed. However, there was no follow through with commissioners, with attorneys, with anybody to hold the police accountable. So now that we have that, using them to do what they're designed to do.
We already know one of the primary issues is a lack of awareness, really. And we have to do a better job of getting the word out. And that's a better way to do it this next room. And that's exactly how we're going to do it. That's why we're at this space. We know how to have fun, but have people leave out saying, damn, I had a good meal. What a hell of a damn conversation. Those are some sharp damn people. I think I want to get involved with that. And I think I want to see more of that. Who doesn't feel that way in here? Raise your hand. All right, so we know we got one solution. We understand that. And that next thing is we agree about the attorneys. Who doesn't agree? Who does not agree that a priority has to be? What good is it if you've identified the problem? You know why it ain't going nowhere? Because we can't prosecute.
Oh yeah.
If you can't prosecute, why are they listening to you? They got to feel you. And we already know one of the most proven ways in this country we destroy these sick organizations and entities is you unfortunately have to use the legal system. America has approximately 80% of the world's attorneys for a reason. If you aren't armed up with an attorney, you are out of luck. SOL is what you are in this country. SOL. 80% of the world's attorneys reside in the United States of America. And if you understand what percentage of them are interested in what we're talking about, it's going to blow your mind. I'm an HR professional who has sued practically every organization that I've had to work for. And for you to go out and find an attorney, your package is going to have to be so supreme because there's not enough money in equity, diversity, and inclusion lawsuits. Now, if you get hurt, somebody beats you up, oh, you can get an injury attorney. He'll call you. You won't even be calling him. They read the blotters every day. They're like, hey, sir, we saw what happened. That was unfortunate. That was unfortunate. Right. But guess what? It's your lucky day.
Right.
We got you. We've sued these people 15 times for the same thing. And you give us 40%, we got you covered. Right. So we already know that routine. So an attorney, CJ, we already know is one priority for this group. Right? So we got that too. We got the documenting and telling better stories, which we're doing. We have, right? So we have those two things which we are doing. Really quick, as we wrap up, I want to go down and again, part of what we do with these events is we're recruiting talent. You can go anywhere else in this town and you try to challenge the information we're sharing with you about these solutions. We dare you. Good. Go ahead, because you're going to do a lot of research. I want us to think about this because for our team and the others who are coming back tomorrow is going to be about, well, if you have a better solution, we need to hear it. Because we are in the middle of baking our strategy over the next year. So we know those two items are priority. What's the third one? Okay, well, this is how we'll do the third one really quick. Listening, and I'm answering your questions because I want to make sure we answer all of your questions so you understand how we listen to the research and why we are excited about the solutions. Listening is a fundamental concept at SEAS. That's what this is about, right? And we're going to keep listening, right? But you got to do a better job of knowing what to listen to. Make them understand and respect and put a plan in place. How do you make people respect you? Well, we just talked about part of it is you got to understand the system. If I'm a fighter and I want another fighter to respect me, she's going to have to feel me. When you sue the first organization around here because of equity, diversity, and inclusion with a lawyer that we get to, or we support the first family who are dealing with police officers in a way that we tell them that we want to work through it constructively, but if we don't, we'll have the attorney's letter to your office the next day. That's how we operate in America if you don't know that. I'm a C-suite guy. We don't listen to all that talking in the community. We don't care. Don't you see at the commission meetings? You can do all that talking that you want to. We're going to listen and we're going to tell you, thank you. Got your 3 minutes. Who's next? And that's what we like to do in our community. We talk too damn much when we need more action. So again, we're holding mothers and fathers accountable for support and accountability. Who doesn't agree with that? Okay, CJ, that's our third agreement here. Mother and father support and accountability we believe in. That's critical.
Spirits up, we're here tonight. Oh, that's enough.
Right. I'm surprised the go is still there. Honestly, it's been there for a while.
And which is grandma's.
We've got Richie Lee here. He's one of my, Richie is my Billy. He doesn't probably even know this. He's one of my best friends, probably my best friend in this town. And because of how much I respect him and what he does, and because hockey is my first love, and I've been allowed to skate with the Grand Rapids Police Department for a couple of years, and I am living a dream. But it's way beyond that, because those guys and people like him clearly help me understand how much closer we are to a different way in addressing anybody's concern than people think we are, because of people like him. Thank you, Richie. I'm going to let him just quickly introduce himself. And Richie, if you could just quickly, sir, share why you are here. What is your community concern? I'm going to move this stuff out of the way for you, sir. This is going to be your spot. What is your community concern, and what are you, sir, willing to do or doing about that community concern?
Throwing me right in the spot.
Seeds of promise.
My name is Richie Lee. I am an officer with GRPD. I met Reginald a couple years ago, mainly just through hockey. I don't really...
Me begging, and somebody saying...
I don't know. We met through Seeds of Promise, and, you know, hockey was a passion of mine. I found out Reginald also loved hockey, so I just, you know, we basically became friends that way. I'm here because of Reginald. He is my friend, and I'm here to support him in whatever his endeavors are. The guy's extremely thoughtful, like way beyond my level. Like I can't even like comprehend the things he's trying to do. I'm just here to support him, and I don't know what else you wanted me to answer.
You just answered it, sir. And if you're welcome, if you want to have a seat with
us,
that'd be great. I know Officer Lee only has about an hour to be with us, so what I wanted to ask the group, and Richie, this is a group of like the cell, like. A core group of leaders we want in the community. We have GVSU president of NAACP. We have a high school student here who is the epitome of what we promote at Seeds. She's homeschooled. One of the most phenomenal students I've met in this town. Out of a group of Ada Bible students, my church, where we do all kinds of great things. But she's here to help stand up. These two are youth chapter this year.
Okay.
We believe in quality, like you guys do. We don't necessarily care about numbers all the time.
Right.
And then Miss Gail, my goodness, we're going to continue with the meet and greet here in a second. I just want to lay the foundation for you. Taylor, we understand how important it is to document what we're doing, just like we did with the promotional piece with the department.
Yeah.
And that's what Taylor does for us. And so we don't share anything, and you know, Officer Lee, how I roll, nothing happens without anybody seeing it. So, and if you don't want to be videoed, just let us know. We won't.
No, you keep me on your video, so yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dee Dee, Taylor for Taylor made. Kevin's the reason why we have this opportunity now. We got some funding from the state for public safety. He's from this area. He's seen the stuff. He knows what needs to happen. Just to have him here and support what we're doing, he's one of the main reasons why we're here. He's the main reason why we're here for this endeavor.
I don't know about all that, but
All these humble people. And then Holland, again, when I say friends, she's one of, again, my best friends in this town. She's one of the best mentors I've had here. You know, she's just necessary. That's all I'll say about Holland. So we got the right group of leaders who have the connections we need. We don't need money. We don't need anything except this core team to do our bit. We have the rest of the crowd. Because the main reason we're here is our mission is what, CJ?
Our mission, we're bringing residents and families and law enforcement together through peace of mind listening sessions and town halls to build trust, foster accountability, and strengthen relationships in communities most impacted by violence.
And that's our end goal next year, along with producing an equity plan for the city. CJ works for the city of Rochester, New York. He's been a mentee of mine for almost 20 years. He's now one of the lead supervisors, managers of their public safety, parks and recreation.
Okay.
He's out in the streets every day, working with officers and residents, squashing all that nonsense without a badge, without a gun every day. So he's, outside of you, sir, probably one of the experts we have here today,
Okay.
facilitating the conversation out of New York.
Okay.
Questions for Richie?
Anything.
We have been reflecting on a few questions as we were walking over here.
Okay.
And I guess I just want to know from you the same questions that we have been kind of reflecting on. And one is, when have you felt the most safest in your community? When have you felt the most unsafest in your community? And what is your community and public safety concerns? I'll just leave it there. I know I loaded you with some.
Yeah. That's a lot. Safest, I would say, like, probably right now, or close to right now. There's, if we're talking just generally, the last week or two's been a little, like, not great. But before that, it seemed like a lot of, like, the violent crime and stuff has been going down. And it just seemed like, yeah, basically, like, crime was going down, or the crazier stuff was stopping in a sense. Obviously, the last 2 weeks hasn't been great, but those ebbs and flows. But I would say right now would be maybe the safest, at least I've ever felt. I'm a resident of the city. I don't know if you know that. I live on the west side. Yeah, right now, safest. The most unsafe would have been like the whole 2020, all that. It's just like, it was crazy. And like, we're coming out of, there's just, the last 5 years were nuts with everything. But I think we're moving on beyond that.
So Didi and CJ said we can get the food and drinks going, and then do another maybe 15 minutes of the meet and greet so we can meet more of each other.
Yes.
And then we'll have another chance, based on what we hear out of that, to maybe ask Richie a few questions before he gets out of here, and maybe suggestions for him that we can ask. Okay.
Absolutely.
Wait, look at that, perfect timing.
There you go.
So where are we at with the rotations? I'm sorry. Thank you, sir.
So it's a church I've been going
fresh and everything.
since I was a kid. I went to like their Sunday school as a student, but then during the president shut down
Things where it's like psychological safety. Like I think of like working.
Just asking something to ensure that we're getting the most of him.
Fair enough. You guys got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didi, can you guys make sure we get
birthday, me and my
questions
friends
out?
went out to the beach.
The ones that we all been talking about.
It was like serene. It was so.
As we were walking over and during our mental health walk, and now we're going to utilize this time to share out, but specifically share out with Richie involved with us, because we're so happy that you're here. Oh my goodness. Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah.
But we're very happy to have your perspective, because
Okay.
usually we don't get to hear your
Right.
perspective, and it's very important to us. So during this time, we're going to utilize some of our self-reflecting to further ask Richie some questions, because we don't have him for a lot of time. And again, we don't want to put you on the spot. We just want to make sure that we get your perspective involved in all of the things that we're doing to support the community and our local law enforcement as well. So
we had some serious questions, Richie. The reason why we were very particular with who we bring, we have to bring like-minded people.
Yeah.
And we believe better conversation, more honest conversation leads to better opportunities.
Right.
So thank you again, sir. Thank you again, brother, for being here.
My name is Dee Dee Taylor. I'm the president and founder of Taylor Made Reentry nonprofit. Our mission is bridging the gaps between community and law enforcement and those affected by the criminal justice system. So I have a lens, and I come from a lens of supporting those who have been directly impacted by police and correctional staff in our systems. And I also have a ear to the community too. So I also understand some of their concerns and some of their safety concerns too, along with my lived experience too. So thank you.
Awesome. So yes, my name is CJ. My government name is Cornelius Harris. I work for the City of Rochester Security Division. We work side by side with local PD. A great portion of our department was birthed out of that department, and then it broke off from that department into Department of Environmental Services. But as far as operations are concerned, it's pretty much stayed the same since long before I even joined the department. It was me coming into the security department with the city that allowed me to see firsthand exactly how what actually make PD ticks on an operational level. And I was also out there in the midst of the riots. It was a shell shock for me. I've seen cars get lifted over, cars getting burnt up, people trying to vandalize and break into City Hall. You name it, they was outside of the public safety building. We witnessed all of that. Many of those times we were called to the front lines before law enforcement were to step in, whether it be local PD or state troopers, and we was left with nothing but what we would like to call verbal judo. And thank God, none of us has gotten hurt in the midst of those riots, but that's when I got to see and experience firsthand that the major gap between law enforcement and the community, we were those buffers here in Rochester. City security was those buffers because the community knew us and law enforcement knew us at the same time. And everybody trusted us to do our job. And that's pretty much my background. That's what I was born into on a public level.
I'm Gail Harvey. I am so honored to be part of this group. They're so forward thinking and forward moving. I work with the City of Grand Rapids in the Office of OPA. I handle the different programs that I bring to GRPD and community to get together and try and mesh and get trust with their differences and bring a lot of programs to the youth in our city. And so I'm the community engagement analyst for that. And I am just happy to be here. It's great.
My name is Kevin Jackson. I am a resident of Grand Rapids. I currently work for the Michigan Department of Civil Rights. Was formerly an investigator for about 12 years with the department. This is, education, employment, law enforcement cases, public service, public accommodations, disciplinary look at society, right, and all of the different protections that MDCR offers to the residents. Race, sex, disability, gender, a lot of different cross sections. So my experience is very varied and wide ranging. Could have a multitude of different types of cases that you would need to deal with and melt down and maybe not become an expert at, but very, very well versed in kind of what's happening in order to understand the context of situations. And so learning things quickly and building a rapport with people fast has been one of my core skills, and I think I try to bring that to this group at ALPACT, helping people build relationships. That's one of my core missions, or one of my core assignments for the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, is helping support and facilitate when necessary some of the ALPACTs in the West Michigan region of in Kent County. And so that's Advocates, Leaders, Police for Community Trust, and that aligns perfectly with this mission and this work we've been doing. I'm really glad that you were able to come out. We see Chief very frequently. And some of those folks come to our meetings, but it's always good to see the guys who are actually out there.
Thank you.
Doing the work. Tell the chief, you guys like to be out there doing the work. But so glad to see you here. Before I got into this role, I actually spent about 4.5 years in public safety as a school resource officer in Grand Rapids Public Schools. So I worked at Union High School and Burton Elementary Middle School, doing a lot of that work. And although I've never had to do riot patrol, let me tell you, when those walking tacos come out on Wednesday, they get kind of crazy in the cafeteria. So you talking about some
right.
jujitsu, trying to manage folks. And I always joke that the teachers were way harder to manage than the students, but get a lot of drama in the schoolhouse. But so I really enjoyed that, but I have a lot of empathy for that job and trying to, control people in difficult times when safety can become more pertinent than sometimes their immediate feelings. When you're trying to keep a group of people safe, and you're trying to move things along, sometimes things can happen where they're moving a little quicker, and you have to do things that are safety related versus always being able to coddle each and every person's feelings, but also understanding that is very important, especially when you're in a relationship with people and you know that you have to deal with these people on an ongoing basis. How you handle them and treat them humanely is still important. So I just try to bring all my different perspectives to the table, and just hopefully that helps people be able to have better conversations amongst themselves. So
please grab something. We can talk and walk at the same time and seize, okay? What I'm going to suggest really quick is we really quickly go around with the rest of our intros, get something to eat. We jump right into these questions with Richie before he gets out of here. Fair enough?
Yeah, I'm Shapana. I'm a junior at Grand Valley. I'm studying legal studies and political science. I have a minor in accounting. I'm the president of the NAACP chapter. I'm also the vice president of the Criminal Justice Honor Society.
My name is Holland de la Cruz. I am the coordinator for, first and foremost, I'm a community member. Grew up in Grand Rapids with some time spent abroad in a few other countries, but Grand Rapids is kind of home base. And I coordinate the West Michigan Welcome Plan Collaborative. And so that is a local community collaborative focused on Kent and Ottawa counties, but I'm based in Kent County Administration. And we are one of 5 regional collaboratives funded by the Office of Global Michigan. And we focus on different priority areas for welcoming and inclusion of immigrants and refugees that reside in our area. And so those areas are community safety, access to services, education, economics, and engagement, like community engagement. So I met Regional through our community safety work, actually work in each of those priority areas has a work group with different partners representing different sectors and different lived experiences. So the community safety work group, our co-chairs, Captain Kathy Williams with GRPD, Captain John DeGroot with the Kent County Sheriff's Office, and then Julieta Tornes, who is staff, like a program director at Puertas Abiertas, which is a local nonprofit that serves survivors and victims of domestic violence and human trafficking in the Spanish-speaking community. And we have one co-chair that's leaving. Her name is Rose Mayan. She's from the South Sudanese community and is in the Refugee Congress and has a lot of other chair roles. That work group is made up of community members, law enforcement, immigration law providers, nonprofits. And so that's kind of how I got connected with this work. And one of the whys, but I think at the end of the day, my biggest why is that I live here and I want us to be a safer community and to have the build the relationships and the understanding across differences so that it is safer for everybody. So thanks for being here.
I'm here to document everything. I'm here because I called Region L about a year ago, maybe a little bit more now. I was looking to volunteer in any way that I could. I called probably 20, 30 churches, nonprofits, whatever. Region L is the only person that got back to me. He said, yes, we can use you. I've been doing the listening sessions, now the ALPACT, just document everything, getting it on video, putting it together. Regional's been using it to try to get funding, to try to get people to join the cause and do good work.
Thank you.
And it's led to that housing project that you saw in Cranes, and we're going to do the same thing in public safety next year.
My name is Sadie Morgan. I'm a junior in high school at Michigan Connections Academy, which is an online public school. I'm currently dual enrolling at GRCC in an Intro to Criminal Justice class, and that's the field I'm hoping to go into, and being able to serve and help those who don't have the voice to or don't have the opportunity to help themselves. I've also been lucky enough to be able to work as a youth ambassador with Seeds of Promise for the last few months, and I'm here to be able to represent the youth who don't feel like they have a voice or don't know how to use their voice. Because I feel like so often people will say that they're going to get things done or say they're going to do certain things, but then they don't, and we're left to kind of fend for ourselves almost. And I think it's really important to be able to advocate for those who don't have the opportunity to advocate for themselves. So I met Region L through a Peace of Mind listening session that I did with Ada Bible through their youth ministry Lifeline. I've been a student there since 7th grade, and we were doing a local missions trip called Serve GR, and that was one of the places that my group went to be able to give an insight to the student perspective of a lot of the racism and discrimination in our community. And that's how we got connected, and I've been working since and being able to help provide a safe and honest community for people to share their opinions and their voice.
TJ, first question, we're going to go around, everybody at least ask one question of Richie.
Well, it's been the toughest thing for you to have to endure as it pertains to feedback from the community.
I would say not understanding like police procedure. Like a lot of people will see, we'll just take like a high risk stop and we have our guns drawn, and people won't understand why those guns are drawn or why we're going about it the way we're going about it.
You mentioned you live in the community. Have you always lived in the community, and if so, why?
I moved here from the east side of state near Flint. I'm from the Flint area, just east of it. I came out here for Grand Valley. I was on campus at Grand Valley for a couple years, and then I moved downtown my junior, senior, super senior year. And I've been in the city ever since. Why do I live in the city? Because I love the city. I love the community I work for. It's a great city.
Did you always want to be a police officer? Was that like a part of your consideration living in the city, or it just happened to come together that way?
Because you went to Grand Valley.
Were you in the academy maybe at Grand Valley?
So I went to Grand Valley, got my bachelor's degree there, but then I went to my academy back home in Flint because I didn't.
Okay.
At the time, I made the decision. I didn't want to wait for Grand Valley stuff. It's like it only is a summer thing, and I wanted to get it done. So I moved back to Lapeer for the Flint area for my academy and did it there. But my longtime girlfriend, we're split up now, but she always wanted to live in the city, and I always wanted to live in the city. It was really her that was like, hey, we're going to buy a house in the city. I was like, absolutely. I now have the house, but that's where I live. I don't plan on moving. That's where I'm staying.
And so I just was curious because we always hear about recruitment, right?
Yeah.
Just curious how, like, where did your story start? Like, were you 10 years old? Like, I'm going to be a cop, or did you?
Somebody asked me earlier. As far as I remember, I just remember like drawing myself as a cop. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, I want to be a cop or whatever it was, but there was something always in me. There was times where I didn't want to be a cop because I got in high school or right after high school, I got caught speeding a couple times. And I was like, man, those guys are. Can I swear on this? Or what?
Yeah.
I was like, man, that guy was a dick. So there was times where I was like, I went through a couple year period where I was like, I don't want to be a cop. I don't want to be like that. But then it flipped at one point where I was like, I can be a different cop.
Have you heard of the Michigan Department of Civil Rights before, like today? Like, are you aware of?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right, so okay.
Yeah, I think I've been investigated.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, so most of the officers, and obviously I don't know, so I'm speaking out of class a little bit, probably don't really know about this or know about it from like that experience.
Yep.
And like, I would really love to come in and share with the group like what we do besides investigate you guys.
Gotcha.
Because there's like civil rights is for everybody, and it's so important. I think sometimes it can feel like it's like us against them.
Yeah.
In a way, and like I have investigated cases on behalf of officers for other things.
Mother, father support and accountability first. What do you think about that concept and its impact on public safety?
I think that's like where you would want to start is the moms and the dads and the uncles and the aunts and the family is if we're talking like base level like crime, if that's what we're talking about, like to stop kids from making bad decisions, your parents got to care, your family's got to care, and that's what will get you out of those bad decisions. You know, it's a good support system. If that's what you're asking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think your support system is really the foundation of what will, ultimately start making good decisions and making good community members.
Yeah, so since you went to Grand Valley and you're now an officer, what's the biggest safety issue you see that college students overlook?
Biggest, well, for college kids, like the cars getting broken into and stuff. Bad party decisions.
Right?
Yeah. Especially Grand Valley, if you're off in Allendale, there's not much going on there. The cops giving out MIPs, that's your biggest. I don't know. I guess I really don't think about the college, especially Allendale ones. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're mostly good.
Yeah, mostly.
Just be
Yeah,
general.
mostly good. Yeah.
Kind of I guess a two-part question. How long have you worked as a police officer?
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years.
Yes.
Cool. Is there anything that you, as in your experience, in your career, in your profession with with your colleagues, anything that police wish that community would know about, when would it be how much do you feel like you get called on something when you feel like, man, these neighbors could have just talked to each other and then we wouldn't have to be here, and if people had the closer relationships, that
90%.
it wouldn't escalate.
90%.
Wouldn't escalate the situation where you're did you need the police, or could you have sent a text and been like, hey, y'all are being too loud, or
it's very true.
would that be a preference for the police to be called to something like that?
Obviously less work. No one wants to do more work.
Yeah.
But a lot of things can resolve with better communication. Whether that's just neighborly issues, like loud noise complaints, whatever that might be, or just family. We get, a lot of it could be resolved in house. And there's a lot of times we can't do anything, and it's really just us trying to facilitate, the communication between the parents or whatever the case may be. Hey, you guys need to talk this out. You guys need to figure this out yourself. We can't solve this.
Yeah.
My question is, what's been the most rewarding aspect or part about being an officer?
I love. This might be not high level, but somebody gets something stolen and then I can get it back. It's I love it. I don't know. They get their bike stolen and I can find that bike. Oh, I love it. Because it doesn't that bike might be a $50 bike,
Right.
whatever the case may be, but it's that dude's bike, and it's that's his. I love it. I love it. Or like somebody got their PlayStation stolen one time and I was able to find it. And I was just like,
Still had the game in it, probably.
still everything's there,
Right.
nothing deleted. Oh,
Man.
I love it.
It's a good
I
feeling.
love it.
Thank
Yes.
I love it. How do you recognize signs of trauma during encounters, and how do you change your approach if you do see that trauma?
So like we are all trained on it and stuff. And every officer's different on how, they can empathize, and basically empathy is just like you can see it, like you can feel it, and it just depends on what the escalation level of the call is or whatever the case may be. But really just slowing down and being like, oh, this something's happened here. It's like this is not good. Like I need to not be my robot self. I don't know if I'm answering
No,
this
I
right,
get it.
but
No. That's great.
yeah, we do get trained on it, but really just being a human sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you can't always just be like, yeah.
And that's important to me.
Taking time, being patient. Like I don't remember where I heard it, or if I heard it at Grand Valley or whatever it is, but like unless crazy stuff's going on, like the most important thing at that time is the call you're on or the people you're on. So take as much time as you need. Don't rush through it just because you want to get to clear up the board, or you have other calls, or you want to, go eat. Like this is the most important thing at the time. This is why you're here.
What type of impact do you think it would have on the community if mothers and fathers started to get educated on understanding police procedure?
I think it would have a pretty big impact, especially like viral videos and stuff. Like they get sent out there, and you're only seeing, somebody's camera from the street corner, and you don't see what happened that led up to it. They would be able to have everybody slow down and be like, there's more to this than the cops pointing a gun at a 12-year-old or whatever the video of the day is. There's always more to it. Just because the video looks bad doesn't mean cops are doing bad things or going above, or being using too much force, that kind of stuff. So if everybody would be a little more educated on that, I think it would be it'd provide less reactionary and less emotions, and be like, hey, this is maybe why they're doing this, or there's a reason for this, so we don't have to, make it a bigger deal than what it is.
I've been in this space for about 3 or 4 years with OPA, and I found that when I started, that OPA had really an ick thing with our public safety.
Got it.
And so then as I started doing the trainings, it seemed to be better and more open and a little more trust. So when you think about OPA, did you think about it at that point being ick? And is it better now? And have you been to any of the trainings that I brought over there with CID?
I'm not sure about the trainings. If they were like mandatory,
They're not mandatory.
then maybe I haven't. For me personally, OPA was never like an ick thing. Like I kind of always understood it. GRPD's been, to me at least, like pretty progressive. Like we got body cams early. We always had like audio recording. Like we want to be on the transparent. So for me, it was never like I understood it. Like I'm all about it, and I think like the generally, most guys like don't even think about it. That's our job. Like people need to who polices the police kind of thing, and like there should be some kind of oversight. So, I think most of the cops understand that.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so I was curious how do you within yourself, as you're engaging a person for the first time, like monitor your own biases or traumas that you may have as a cop, things you've been through, and just keeping yourself centered in like that moment and not revisiting previous traumas, or like, do you think through that in the moment?
No, like for me, like, I'm kind of a robot in that facet. Like, I don't get affected by a lot of things, so like, I don't. I'm sure I have some kind of like PTSD from crazy scenarios I've been to, but like it doesn't like come forward. Like almost every traffic stop's just a new traffic stop. Like I don't think I bring in anything other than like, just like the training of it is like, what am I looking for? But if you're talking like biases and stuff, no. Unless it's like a guy I already know and I'm like, this guy's gonna fight me or whatever. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Not yet. Come back.
Yeah, 5 minutes for real. For real. You don't know how valuable this is, brother. Yeah, believe me. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rob. Yes, sir. Thank you, Rob.
In your experience working in community, and specifically in Grand Rapids area that is can be very like linguistically diverse. You have different people who maybe don't speak English, or what are some systems or some things that you wish were in place from like a systems level to help you maybe navigate interactions with people of different cultures and different languages?
I guess hiring, and we do that. We always are looking for Spanish speakers for sure. And then but like Google Translate's awesome. Like I use Google Translate. Yeah, the phone lines are hard sometimes. Really, just like people that can actually speak the language, and it's hard. Like obviously Spanish is a big language around here, but then you also come into the
There's a lot of like
Kinyarwanda. Yes, I couldn't think of the yes, but Kinyarwanda, yes, and the hospitals have translators and stuff. So if you're at the hospital with this person, it's a little easier. But like out on the street, like it's tough.
Yeah, I know. Like some agencies are like doing like a body cam that has like the AI translation.
We have some of that stuff, or it's coming.
But it doesn't help with Kinyarwanda.
Okay.
It doesn't have that language.
Yes.
Which is just the way AI works, right? You need a lot of input, and there's not a huge presence, regardless of the fact that there's like millions of speakers. It's not a huge presence on the internet. So. Yes.
I do know, like we're part of the Axon community, and Axon has those like AIs and those technologies and stuff. And I would imagine soon we'll also have that capability.
I'll keep my question quick. But would you, for someone who's looking into going into criminal justice, would you recommend taking the time to research or like major or minor in psychology or sociology to be able to understand more of like the personal side of things on top of the legal side?
Yeah, I would say that would be helpful for sure. Anytime you can understand humans, like that's going to be helpful. And then being able to just like communicate with them. And so if those classes help you like, make you a better communicator and understander of human behavior and stuff, absolutely.
We've hired on the police department, have hired psychologists, psychiatrists, people with social mental health backgrounds, MSWs. The results are going to be different depending on the individual and how they use the information. Just like for our leadership team, we're trying to say there are rules out here that we need to learn how to follow more consistently, right? Because that's going to get us a different kind of result in everything that we do. And we need people who have experience using a lot of data, because you can get lost in it. And people like me sit in these rooms listening to a lot of these theorists talk. And my research comes from the bottom up, whether it's with the residents or the people and the experts that we work with. It comes from the bottom up. That's part of our secret. So thank you again for that question. But just remember, there's always a lot of variables, and Richie is obviously demonstrating while many residents are thinking one thing, right? They forget they're humans too. And that's why we say, do you follow all your rules? So why do you think all of them have to or will? Because they know if they follow the rules, you're ignorant, you don't even understand them, they're still going to be wrong. So at the end of the day, how they choose to use that training and education, the situations are so variable on them every day that the consistent things works, and one thing is working are their professionalism and standards and accountability, the consistency and the knowledge and the training they get. Applying those things are getting a result. If residents want something different, we have to find leaders who can get us up on par. That make sense?
Yes.
So we have to do a better job of not only selecting leaders at national levels and local levels, because they're all different. They can all have the same education and all the same training. Does not mean it's going to manifest itself or show up the same way in how they use it. Richie, final thoughts. Knowing what you're hearing this group is trying to do, take on this task, and this is just a cell. We're spending the whole winter to get right and come out of the box with that series of 3 public safety roasts where a team like this is going to roast the community.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts, sir?
Like always, like you're just always like a couple levels ahead of me. I'm always trying to play catch up on like what you're trying to establish. Like it's awesome. I think being able to hear, talk to people, meet people. I think this is where things change, and programs are good. I don't know.
And if I could be the
Yeah, go
last
ahead.
person, just give the final input of everything. I did have a really important question.
Go with it.
Just to ask that, I thought was very important.
Go with it.
Have you ever seen one of your peer officers doing something that wasn't right, and did you hold them accountable of that?
If you're talking like excessive force kind of thing,
Whether it's
So,
excessive force,
excessive
treating
force-
someone bad, anything.
no, I have there's been times where it's like I'm gonna step in just because he has less of a fuse than I do. There's been plenty of times like I'm super patient. Like I just have it. Like I'm lucky I have that. So there's plenty of times where it's like this doesn't need to escalate any further. I'm gonna take lead on this one, and hopefully this calms everybody down. Like there's times where you just got,
Right, of course.
yeah, and there's plenty like that, and we have plenty of officers that do that, and we have in our policies like duty to intervene, and it doesn't have to be just excessive force. It could just be, hey, my partner's arguing with this guy, and it's like hey, we don't need to do this.
Yeah.
My like first ever partner, I had him. He was my partner for like 5 years. We used to have like a handle on the back of our body carrier, and I would call it the pat handle because he's like a little guy, and you wouldn't think he's the one that's like always like ready to go. So it'd be just like, hey Pat, I got this one. I got this one.
That's awesome. And so, as far as accountability, have you ever had to hold one of them accountable? And what did that look like?
Well, I'm a FTO, field training officer. So like I train a lot of officers and like just partners in general. But yeah, we're always holding each other accountable. We are actually trying to be the best cops. Like whether it's training all the time or just like out on every call, like we want to handle it right. We want to do it right because the entire department's trying to hold us all accountable, like everybody does.
Okay.
I know, and not everybody thinks that or sees that. Everybody's like, "Oh, GOP do this," but like we're trying.
I appreciate that, and I love being a credible messenger.
Yeah.
For our community.
It's just like the officers see in our community. They know there are people out there trying.
Yeah.
They know a lot of people out there trying, but they have their lens and assessing things too. And it's kind of hard to walk around knowing you're being held at one standard, and it's easy to throw darts. And that's why we're here to help them understand that nobody should be throwing darts until they can show us what they're doing first. CJ, sir, the expert in the room outside of Richie, final thoughts before we transition into our next phase and let Richie head out.
As we meditate on his responses, let's try to be consistent with looking through the lenses of mother and father support and accountability. There's a whole nother hour worth of questions I would love to ask him, but there's like years worth of questions I would like to ask our community. So let's try to keep that in mind when we're asking law enforcement to come to the table and have some dialogue.
About you and Sadie getting
Yeah, I was
together,
gonna say share my contact.
No skate Monday.
Okay, no skate Mondays.
I'll
Okay.
text you.
Okay. Talk soon. Thank you.
ruined
Yes,
it.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
You got kicked out the group now.
No more skate for the foreseeable future.
That's right.
Some wings on the menu. They were like sweet and spicy. Is there any way to make them
Thank you.
spicy, spicy?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Those hot ones, Holland.
Yeah, they
I'm
were
gonna
very
hate,
hot.
to have to call Richie.
Holland, those
Yeah,
hot
they're
ones, boy. I will warn you.
Yeah.
Unless you really like hot.
I do like hot.
You-
Maybe
okay.
maybe I'll do the sweet.
Okay. That's it. Okay.
They're good.
He said they're not that bad. He said they're not bad. Those
What, the
wings are
wings?
smoky.
Which one? So you
Those
got
wings?
the spicy wings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Spicy last night. They were good, but I had a little drip going.
Thank you. This is the team I told him I'm going to put together in two that's going to brief the command team here. That's all of the chiefs in the county. That's what I'm trying to prepare for. That's what this is about.
That's what this is about.
That's what this is about. And we have the best. So thank you guys. Thank you.
It was in their handbooks when they moved in that back in the day you had to live in the community you police. You had to live there. And then over a time frame when they started switching policies and stuff around in there and verbiage, they said you don't have to. And so he lives there.
So that says a lot.
That was good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. That's
You
great.
guys anything?
Oh, y'all ordered already?
Yes. I
Oh,
ordered.
yes, I have some, I want some shrimp fried rice.
Shrimp fried.
Please.
Okay.
I'm
You said 5?
Five spicy
Any of you?
wings.
No, I'm good.
Another
Gotta take off.
like thing of fries.
Yeah. Shrimp fried.
No, I gotta go do them domestic responsibilities. That mother father y'all talking about.
Yeah. So you good on food?
Yeah.
Okay. Any of you?
I'm good.
And a Miller Lite,
Middle light, shrimp fried
With a
rice,
frosty
5
glass.
wings, beef fried rice,
frosty glass.
frosty glass, and then some French fries.
You can bring me a mule.
Just a Moscow mule,
No,
tequila
actually,
mule, soldier mule,
tequila with.
Mexican mule.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a rum and coke and a beer. That is Sapporo.
Sapporo,
Yes.
rum and coke.
Yes.
I want a mule too, but can you do it with whiskey?
Whiskey mule. Yeah.
Can I do a
It's like, I wasn't gonna have anything that you said. I was like, no.
Sadie, how? Oh, that's a
Yeah, I
Shirley
was
Temple.
trying to get one in earlier.
How old
but
are
it
you?
just didn't
16.
time up.
Oh, you mean the
alcohol?
Oh.
No, it's just like Canadian.
Shirley Temple is right with cherry drink.
Really? I thought it was Shirley Temple was an alcoholic drink.
Sugar bowl.
Good?
Really?
Yeah, it's
That's what you eat. That's what you drink at your cousin's wedding. Like,
We don't play
I've been up there and look.
We don't do
Regent
that Hennessy's.
Regent been at the bar before ordering Shirley Temple, was acting like he was drunk. Hey, you know it
Right. They're getting to me.
was right.
No, I told Sadie, even if she's so spectacular, I mean, when we had a group, these students, again, volunteered through Ada Bible, but she just distinguished herself with like her engagement and like her intelligence. And I'm like, wait a minute, like,
Right.
I'm like, okay. And then I was like, if anybody here, and that's when I started saying, if you want to get involved, you make sure you sign up on this volunteer sheet. She signs up on it. And I'm going to tell you, if you see her work, quality, and I tell people this all the time, because I work with a lot of high-performing high school students, I would hire them over most adults. She is phenomenal.
Awesome.
And she's homeschooled, and I can't wait to meet her
Oh,
parents.
man,
I've been
that's
telling her since
awesome.
day one, nope, we got to meet your parents, because that's
That
the
part
core
right there.
of what we're talking about. Because they're so confident in her, and I know they've been counseling her
Yeah.
on her stuff as we've been talking. We have a whole orientation process we do, even for, in this case, I brought her on as a contractor administratively. So I didn't want to go through the employee thing, just to give her
Right.
flexibility. And I wanted to work with her so bad.
Right.
I was willing to just work the schedule around.
No, right, her. Right.
I love
I
it.
said, we really only have to meet once a week. And you can work from home,
with it
track your hours,
Right.
and let me know, because she produces it. And I
That's
can
awesome.
see it. And I talk to her about her parents. We have these conversations about our mission. And again, this is how I vet. I vet hard. And she just cleared everything so clearly.
I appreciate
gotta
it.
bring
I'm
her
not
on.
as great as you saying. Don't set your expectations
Yeah.
too high, but
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, believe it.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So Dee Dee and CJ, because as we're getting the food, we're getting into the main piece, because I know Kevin has to leave, but the main thing was today was, I think we had a great time to do that with Richie though.
Man, that was
Because
great.
Dee Dee, that's what I was saying. Dee Dee made me get an officer here today.
I did.
What's up?
That
We
was
had to check
awesome.
in this morning. She was like,
Right.
we didn't have one officer. I had to. And that's
was
the kind of
nice.
stuff they do for us.
Yeah.
So thank you, man, for
favors.
holding me accountable. Because we talked about all leaders. We were all supposed to bring. And that's what it
let
goes
me-
back to, us.
He doesn't stop. He doesn't need it. Covert operations, man.
That's what it is. They
Make
covert.
it seem
It's
important.
covert too.
Right.
We serious about it.
That's good.
Thank you, love.
I know he's very serious.
Yeah. Janelle don't play. Oh yeah. Playing.
Yes, yes. So what we're gonna do now is write our solutions. And Kevin, you can head out whenever you need to.
All right, you know I got y'all. All
Yes,
right.
sir. Yes, sir.
Another great session. I will
Yes, sir.
see you and speak with you
See you
all
later, baby.
again soon.
Yes, sir.
So nice to see you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was
Take care.
talking with.
And then once we're done writing those out, we're gonna take some time to share out. And then after that, we're gonna do our pledges and commitments, and we'll wrap things up.
I rely on the people doing the work. I'm not going into communities, keep talking about your lived experience. I got enough with the people doing the work.
Right.
And theirs are more valuable, than yours, because you're sitting around complaining
Right.
with all of these opportunities for you to get the ball. I don't even want to hear you, really.
Right.
So we just wanted to bring partners so we can identify those who have a commitment to what we're doing, right? So that we can stand together. That's how we improve relationships. If we really believe in this stuff, if we really believe that these things are priorities, then we stand together with the officers in our community. If we're saying our culture is also impacting us, we use them to help us raise the bar together.
Yep, and you're so right about that. And when people ask me, Dee Dee, why the hell are you in front of law enforcement and they killed your sister? The number one thing that gives me peace of mind and really helps me reflect is knowing that our community has a lot of work to do and we need to do that together, and we have to do better if we want law enforcement to do better. So I totally second that, and I do think that just overall as a community we have to change that trajectory of what it looks like to come together.
But I have to say,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
what he said when he said he lived in the community, he didn't have to say any more to me. He didn't have to say nothing else to me. Because that's my thing. I work in bringing in public school administrators and things, and they have to live in the community. And like I said, the PD used to have to live in the community, but they don't anymore because of all of their back and forth with their unions. And my whole thing about them living in the community is when they go to work and they're policing this community, guess what they leave? They leave their family in the community at home, their children, their wives, their whoever's in their unit, in their home, they leave them in that community. So that makes you have a better perspective on, I'm working in this community, I need my family to be safe. So I'm growing a relationship in this community. And when I see Dante held up at the store, it ain't gonna be guns blazing, it's gonna be, Dante, what you doing? Get over here. And knowing that you can say that. It makes a difference to reside in the community.
On the other, I'm not a sworn officer of the law, but on the other side, there's a trauma to that reality for the officer.
Mm-hmm.
Because knowing the type of community that he's sworn to protect and serve, he still don't know if his family is safe in that same community that is hostile with hypersensitivities. So in his mind, it's like, I can't work in this city and have my family here because I have a huge target on my back. And if they can't get to me, they will definitely show up at my house when I'm not there.
So with that, CJ, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because on my ride-alongs, when I get into the conversation piece with the ride-along officer, that was also brought up. He said, Gail, he said, what if we took you and your family and dropped you off in the middle of a community of nothing but police officers and their families? He said, how would you feel? I said, I might feel a little uncomfortable at first. I said, but I would be working on growing a relationship. And so for me, and I'm not law enforcement, I can work with that if I know that that's what we're trying to work on. And then what I look at before now is for the work that we do, we have our ancestors who died for this, who knew that they were walking into it and they died for this. And I see a whole different generation now where some of us might, but a lot of us won't. But the work has to be continued. So for them, that are like you said, they got targets and things. It has to start somewhere. They have to start trying to grow something that will let them know their families are going to be okay. And if you are out there mistreating people in your community, you're right. It is going to be a target. You have to stop. You have to stop that in order to build some trust. So maybe you don't want to bring your family right now, but you got to work on that mindset of building that trust so that eventually that community will respond to you as, oh, that's Officer Bill over there. Yep, he good. He's my guy, da, 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 da. And then you can feel comfortable being there or bringing your family into there. Because the trust can't happen if you're not going to be there engaging. If you just dip in and dip out, I mean, we don't really trust that too much. But I understand what you're saying, CJ. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's a hard one, and that's just RPD. Like I mean, PD period. Because like Officer Rich says, you know, they do hold themselves accountable the best way they can inside of their department,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
In my department, almost everybody in my department look just like me, and they ostracize me for being a cop, and I'm not.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Thank you.
So I get a paycheck, be in the belly of the beast of my own people. Grew up in the same neighborhood. They know my family. The community knows me. And I am a living testimony of why I would never, if I had it my way, I would never be a police officer living in my community. And I hate that I feel that way, but I live the truth of it. And we are in the community. We still live here. My family is here. We walk these streets still.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer I stay in my department with people that look like me, the more hatred I receive, because I dare to stand for what's right in the most quietest way possible. Even when because when I'm vocal, it's an uproar. And all my managers is saying, well, what is he doing wrong?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And nobody have an answer for it. It's a personality clash that I'm not even entertaining, but it's there.
Mm-hmm. In the lead position, as you are in that lead position, and people that look like us, and families, and then there's them. Our people, I find, are going to be harder on you.
Thank you.
Than they would on the other one.
Exactly.
Just because you're them and they feel like you shouldn't be trying to help in that capacity. So I get it. I understand. And I'm sorry that is how it is, because you're doing what is necessary. And I commend you, and I commend everybody that steps in that.
And it's like for you too, Gail.
My daughter does not want me to do what I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. My daughter is military. She's a sergeant. She just got back from Iraq.
Wow.
And she does not like the position I am with the trainings of the GRPD. Exactly. And she don't like it.
Exactly.
And so if there's ever any small conflict, she said, Mom, don't talk to them. Don't say nothing. Because she's worried. And I get it. But my day-to-day reality is, so I've raised my children. They're all gone. They live on their own. They're all doing well. It's just me at the end of the day. And my every waking moment is, if I can't do what I feel like I'm called to do, why am I here? As my grandma said, why that one breathing? My grandma old school. She don't be playing. And when she got something to say and she see it don't make no sense, she want to know, why is that one breathing?
And it takes a while to grow quality, right? We know quality takes time, so we put in the work every day, and that's what we'll be bringing together with each other, and that is what gets our other partners to see, that we are trying to meet the standards that they're holding our officers to, that they're holding people in the banking industry to, with how we, use our finances. And we tell people, there's a lot of people out here doing good work, but for every penny you give us, we're going to give you a bigger ROI. I know they stopped making pennies now, but we still tell them. So
I know, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we spent 2 months with phone calls and meetings to get to where we are now, and I think it shows the standard of how to get there, and how important it is to put in the work to get there, spending those couple months before I officially came on as an independent contractor, to know this is what's expected of me, this is what I'm going to need to do, and to be able to set the bar so that I knew how to meet it and I had time to be able to prepare myself to meet it. And I think it's so important I've always felt very, very respected, and I've always had a very flexible schedule of knowing if we need to shift meeting dates around, we can. If
My family travels a lot, so I've been to 49 different states. The only one left is Hawaii. So if we're out of town, or if I do musical theater, so if I'm in a show and my schedule's busier, then knowing that we're able to be flexible and work around my schedule, or if things can be pushed back or done earlier than they would have been. So it's a very high quality of work, but it's the right quality of work.
Thank you, Sadie. And you said a key word there. This is our preparation. That's what we said we're spending the winter. Because this takes good work, and we're spending the winter to build the right team to execute next year when we come out the box with that public safety role, so we know we're going to kill it.
That's right.
Dee Dee, CJ, sorry, but I just have to hit those important pieces.
That's
We're
okay.
still going around with the final, because we're wrapping up now. We're just still doing the what is, out of everything we're hearing, what's the toughest thing you think we need to be dealing with, and what is your solution? So I guess, can we let Holland and Sadie go next, or where are we at?
Yeah, I'll start. For me, I think a problem that I've seen so frequently is people saying they're going to do things and then not doing it. And whether they're not doing it because they don't care enough to, or because they don't know how to do it, either way, it's not being done. And I think it's falling on people who shouldn't have to be dealing with these problems to solve them. And while a lot of youth that I've seen and have worked with are happy to be able to solve these problems, a lot of these problems shouldn't even be here in the first place, and that shouldn't fall on anyone to have to fix, let alone students. But here I am anyway, and I'm happy to be able to help solve these problems, but realistically, the problem shouldn't have to be here in the first place. So I would love to be able to set up, whether it's in meetings, if it's in videos, or just some way to educate adults, whether it's parents or just primary caretakers for children, of how to have the education and have the knowledge to be able to take action. Because you can't solve a problem and take that initiative if you don't have the education to know that that's a problem.
For sure.
And I think parents, it's really easy to forget that you're not just raising a child, you're not just raising a toddler, you're not just like raising an elementary schooler, you're raising a person who has to be an adult, who has to go be able to apply for jobs, has to be successful, has to be able to sustain their own life. You're not just raising a kid, and you can't do that if you don't have education, if you don't have the knowledge to know how to do that.
You sparked something when you said, with what you shared, and I think one of the things that can be the most challenging in this work and the most frustrating is that you have like two mindsets or two groups of people that are like, if you just understood what my job was, if you just understood the policies I feel in the community, like if you just understood what my fear is, and if you just understood what I have witnessed and that what that's caused, but there's not like I don't feel like there's that bridge of like, I'm trying to understand. It's more of like, if you only, like if you could, I could educate you. Each party wants to educate each other, but they don't, I feel like there's a kind of a hesitation to be educated. To say, hey, I think I do have something to learn here, and I think I should probably, like I'm like, catch myself on this all the time. Like, I understand I have biases too. And it's one of the things in our community safety work group as we've been navigating this first 11 months of the president of the Trump administration in the immigrant community has been just like horrifying on so many levels. And I keep, like, we are spinning our wheels in this community safety group in a lot of ways because they're like, well, we can't do this way anymore. We can't do this way anymore. Like, everybody's terrified for good reason. Doesn't matter what officer you are, what jurisdiction it is, like, families are being hurt on the daily. And so trying to I guess getting some sort of buy-in, if we have two communities that are saying, like, we want to educate this community, we want to educate this community, getting some sort of like buy-in that says, I am willing to change something after that education. I'm not just going to come and listen and then say, I listened, I'm going to keep doing what I was doing yesterday, today. But I listened, so that's, good job. I did it. So like, I think I what I would like to see, and it doesn't have to be like a contract, but it should be an understanding of like, I recognize that things need to change, and I have to be a part of that change. And so just that vulnerability to say it's going to have to take both myself and this other community or this other sector, this other ecosystem. Like, we're both going to have to be willing to do a little bit of change so that we can understand each other better. Because if there's just lecture style, I'm going to teach and you're going to listen, but there's no end goal of like, this is my takeaway, this is what I'm going to change. And I understand, like, I can appreciate that the officers don't have the power to change things within their system. So that's where we have to get leaders to also commit to being like, this is unsafe for everybody. This is unsafe for the community, and this is unsafe for officers. And so what can we be doing? Like, what are some compromises that we can make? And I know that's not simple, and I understand that human beings are complex. But I think in these last 3 years of facilitating and coordinating with this group, we've had some really, really great community gatherings and had a lot of dialogue between immigrant communities and law enforcement. But I've never, I still, after the fact, I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what's happened? What was the outcome? And, like, trying to get what that follow-through is really hard.
So one thing, Holland, that we do is we understand the importance of having people who have experience doing this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I want to send a piece of metal, if I want to send this piece of metal to the moon,
Mm-hmm.
I better have some different kind of caliber dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And ladies and gentlemen. And most of them make a lot of mistakes, right, tailoring technology to get to where they are. So Sadie's point about making mistakes is one of the first things that I do to create space to produce a different product. First concept it sees is listening. Knowledge is free if a man really pays attention. 1% to 2% of us you really need to mention. That's one quote we got coming in our song. Because what we're saying with that is there's a lot of rappers out there, not a lot of MCs. You have to know the difference. And that requires experience, people around you.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've seen these scenes many times, and we keep bringing solutions every time. So part of what we're doing, this is just one thing we're doing, through the disquieted listening sessions, where we don't come and ask people to solve anything. That's not the point. We ask them to do what we do here. You see this rich data we got today? That's what we do.
I'm going right to parenting. We've lost so much with them, and there are a couple of generations missing, but that's another time. We'll talk about that. But with that being said, our children are running amok. They're running amok. And we're so quick to defend them. So the solution is, for me, is for our parents and our school systems to sit together and bring back truancy. I'm so sick of seeing kids all day long on the street. If the school would stop trying to work with that kid like they're adults.
Exactly.
And get back to reaching out to the parents,
yes,
to make them parent. Come on now. That's where I feel we can start, and it will make a big dent, because we're going to teach them respect and how to respect others. So truancy is one of my solutions.
A overall solution that I see that's tangible, because I think the solution we need is bigger than all of us in this room here. But a tangible solution would be for us as a community to find a common ground on how we want to see those relationships built, whether it's from a law enforcement perspective or from community. We have to get a common ground on how we want to move forward, how we want to produce results, how we want to ensure that our community feels safe overall.
Yeah.
And until we get to that point, I think we're all going to continue to say it's your side or my side or this side is right, that side's wrong.
Even if we were in the best position in the police department, if we know our history, decides they don't want to play with you, that's not stopping us. If we know our history, it never has. We have to have people who are more educated and informed. The problem is in our community, number one, we do not have the caliber of leadership like it's like a football team. Every community has talent. I've never been to a community on this planet that does not have talent. The difference is, do you have leadership who creates space for your best talent to operate different than what everybody else is doing? Seeds is creating space for the 1% to 2% of them you really need to mention. Because the rest of them, just like in housing and public safety, like I told them when I got here 4 years ago, what can't happen? I meet with them and I say, Les, you got to separate negative from positive. They didn't even read my resume. I know they are lost. They're not even in the game. They can't even tell me what the police departments or the city's strategic plan says in this area. I know they're not even competition. And all I got to do is call downtown. And so after a year here, I got a call from the police department who said, Regional, we saw your resume. We understand who you are. Just like everybody else who are coming to seize to build houses. David Allen, I saw your resume. I want to talk. Because it looks like you're doing something different. Yes. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Because people here at that level who knows what I do, they actually know how to read my resume. And that's how we're making moves. We're not worried about the rest of them right now. We're not going to be able to help them until we at least get the best of them together. That's what we're here to do. Does that help?
That helps. Yeah.
So I wanted to phrase like a little bit as I'm like thinking and processing of like a solution based of what I identified earlier of like education needing to be had, but two sides that are like, I'm not really ready to change anything. So maybe there's like a format when we are hosting. So we do like, I think there is an appetite for like, we'll come to your community center, we'll come to your church, we'll come to your mosque, and we'll want to talk with you. So maybe there's a tool that we could use as community organizers to say these like have like a pre-session and post-session. Like these are some things that I feel like are within my realm of control and that I could like feasibly make changes in. And then at the end of the session, committing to, after what I've learned today, these are two things I'm willing to change within the way that I interact.
So what we're doing today.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go, baby.
Yeah, I think it's so important to know your own value and know what you can bring when you're coming into a new situation.
Individuals like you, individuals like me are those true examples of parenting and what true parenting and being involved in your child's life looks like. I built a nonprofit at 27 years old. Nobody around me was thinking about the criminal justice field and making sure people are okay when they come home from incarceration, or why is the incarceration system impacting Black and brown communities more than anybody on earth. So it's those type of parents that we need, like yours and like mine, in order to develop young people and to see that you can make a mistake. It's okay to stand for something. You can be different. You can do anything you want to do in life. So yeah, I really resonate with that, and I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna probably be in trouble for saying this, but I'm gonna say it.
Say it, yeah.
While I know there's no playbook for parents, for sure, they make mistakes like everybody else, and when they get grown, I'm sorry you felt that way. I'm sorry it didn't come out right, but we here now. Let's move on. And my thing is, for real, when I look at these children and I see these have this and these have that and these don't have and this and all of that, they can be messed up from their environment and from the parenting that they have. So I honestly believe that there should be a test to become a parent. I'm in trouble for saying that, but I mean it from the bottom of my soul. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we got lost as like a society once we decided that there was like a nuclear family and that's who you had. Because like even like 100 years ago, you lived with your parents when you had your kids, and maybe your auntie and your cousin, and everybody else was in the same house, because it's not meant to be you're on it by yourself. It's not even meant to be you're on it with two people who, you know, created the child. Like, I live with my parents because I genuinely love them and we get along. It's like a social support system. And when I talk to like Americans, I have to explain why I live with my parents. When I talk to immigrants, it's like, yeah, of course you do. Like, that's like that families living together. Like, it's so beneficial for your children to have that input from other adults and other generations. It's so beneficial for the adults to be able to be a part of that kid's life. And we're not like, I think that's part of like those like trainings that you could like that we've missed, like we're missing as like a society, when we've decided that, like, you know, figure it out, you do it on your own. Like, so having more, like, it doesn't have, like, I don't pretend. Like, I also learned, like, it's not normal to get along so well with your parents. I was like, so it doesn't have to be your physical parents, but having those, like, support people in your life, it could be somebody not related at all, but having that, like you said, it takes a village, like having those, especially with different generations, a different generational input into your child's life is so valuable.
My final notes were, again, the emotional piece we didn't get to as much, but these meetings are about with our leadership team at Seeds. All I do here as a CEO is my job is to listen and get stuff done. And I've taken a beating because the community is worth it. I will listen to you 1 or 2 times on a call, share all your problems and frustrations.
But that's it.
And that's it. Because after that, we're going to have solutions for you to start doing.
That's right.
And we want to spend more time talking about what you're doing, what I'm doing for solutions.
That's right.
Because that's how we
That's
get a
what
different kind of respect.
That's right.
From people who do that too every day. We talk about listening. That's a fundamental part of what we do. In those rooms, often we're not listening to each other for 1,000 reasons. Because in the top down, when the boss comes in, it shuts it down. We don't do that at Seeds. I work for everybody here, and we tell everybody at Seeds, you work for the people. None of us are better, but you're going to get credit for the work you put in. They're going to respect the work you put in. They're going to respect your skills. And that's what's going to distinguish you, what you do, not what you say. We start with listening. Make them understand and respect and put plan in place. And I'm talking about the solutions that people share from yesterday. And I'm just reiterating, that's what we do. So who's not listening in this community? Who's not giving money to that? Who's not supporting that? We have to do a better job of getting that word out there together. When it talks about community leadership, we got to do better. I told our board at Seeds when I first came on, you saw my resume. If you want me here, you know things are going to change. And the way we're at right now, I don't have to say much because they only had a quarter of funding left. We were supposed to be closed. People don't know I haven't been paid for a year and a half, almost 2 years. People don't know I've dipped into my own retirement to carry our organization. I can tell you so many other stories that many of us out here doing the work and are tired of listening to these people out here putting us in these crazy positions because of their weak leadership style, because they don't want to have somebody better than them come through, because they're trying to protect their little spaces, because they have their own trauma, because they go to work every day saying one thing and do another, and we hold them accountable. That's why we're not for everybody. We may be a little slower, but we produce the best results, because the first thing we're going to understand is we speak in truth to power.
There you go.
And we holding a leader at Seeds, it's a different level of accountability. And if you can't take feedback and be held accountable because you come to meetings, overtalk people in meetings, you're not letting the individuals with the information and the solution speak so we can focus on that, you won't be at Seeds.
That's right.
Because the first thing we understand we have to do is separate the negative from the positive. And we learn certain things about positive people. They're normally solution oriented. Many of my community members, if I see somebody in the community, we have an issue, they're immediately, what happened? How do we solve this? What is your problem? Other people, you got an attitude, you're darking and barking, you're ready to fight. We don't tolerate that kind of stuff. And we have to continue to be the example that if I hear something I don't like, I ask better questions, or I just, I try to understand it. And if I don't agree with it, I understand that I have the right to not agree with it. But unless I have something better, what am I arguing about?
That's right.
There's no argument.
There's no argument.
Because at C's, we're going to ask you every time, what was the email? What did the email say? Did you hear me say that? What did you do? We don't get into that. I thought you should ask the question to be clear.
There you go.
And if it wasn't documented, we didn't do it. If it's not documented,
Didn't happen.
we didn't do it.